They're going with the surprise here on David Neese.
Opening bounce at the Telstra Dome. Big game, round 20 action. Thanks for joining us wherever you might be watching around the country. Jared Rivers a handball to Brown. Melbourne will get first use towards half forward. Robertson couldn't get hands on the football, and Shawble will tidy up for the Swans. Kirk, good strong tackling from Simon Godfrey. Peter, we mentioned his impact on the side physically. You saw it there.
Yeah, no, it looks as though he's actually with him at the moment, so
lots of matchups to look forward to. White and Ball going at it in the ruck. Ball got front position. White slapped from behind. Bolton. Handball to Kennelly. Got boot to ball. Did well. Kept his head. Got it to Crouch. Williams. Handball missed the body. Put Bolton under pressure. He's run down by Brown. Umpire said got into his back. It'll be a free kick to Craig Bolton.
Well, you're right, Peter. In the matchup, you said that it may have been a dance of four in the middle, and it does look as if you've got that very case. With Kirk trying to get onto Godfrey, but Reid trying to get onto Kirk.
Yeah, and it just depends which coach wants to break that or let it go.
Barry around the city side towards Matthews. It's run down by Neeks. Chance for the Demons. It's a wide open forward line. Miller gathers at 70. Kick had too much on it for Robertson. And a chance now for Sydney to set up again through Leo Barry. Runs through some traffic. Opens up some space and hits Kennelly.
Kennelly gives it off to Matthew Nicks. They're working it up towards the wing. Sydney back to Kennelly. Good run from half back. Goes inside 50 for the first time. In the direction of Stephen Doyle. The blocking space and taking an easy mark. Pete Bizzle has Whelan. Rivers runs forward. Reid short. Plenty of Sydney players running defensively. Pick up their opponent. Heads down the line. Finds Wheatley. The big job on Barry Hall. Important player, Paul Wheatley.
Both coaches have done exactly the same, with Wheatley a runaway player from potentially Barry Hall, and Leo Barry, I guess, has been charged with the same responsibility.
Godfrey drives the pack, kick towards Meeks, drops the chest mark. Barry happy to see the ball towards the boundary line. Crouch will kick it in.
The ball looks a bit hurt there.
Slow to get up. Matthew Nicks still deep in defensive 50. Bolton back to Nicks. Has Kennelly. Support from Jason Ball if he wants it. Needs to be quick. Good chase. Uze couldn't get the tackle. Uze follows up. Goods. Not too sure which way to go. Back to Jason Ball. Heads towards Barry Hall. Nicholson wears him tightly. Good spoil. Goods has Crouch short. That's Williams it is. Gets inside 50. This for the first score. Paul Williams. Doyle didn't make the distance. Stephen Doyle lost his opponent, and Jared Rivers, he will have a shot at goal. A chance to kick Sydney's first in the first for the night.
Well, we saw Doyle take the opening bounce, but then he pushed forward, and a pretty good move if this one pays off with a goal.
Tight angle confronting Stephen Doyle. 3 goals, 1 for the year. 3 goals, 2 for the year.
Disappointing miss from Stephen Doyle. Paul Roos would have been happy to manufacture an early shot for goal with that move.
Oh, it was a bad miss because he was only 10 metres out, and so, just had to think his way through that. Should have run around or just gone back and slided the goal.
Peter Schwab joining us in commentary this evening alongside Jason Bennett, Jared Healy and Wayne Schwass. Paul Wheatley goes to Whelan at defensive 50. Searching kick to the wing, favours Reid. Maxfield pushes back on the contest and forces it to ground. Hall, Maxfield by hand to Kirk. Good pressure from Bruce, got a hand in there. Went back and put body on body. Forced the turnover. Brown, Whelan, Godfrey, and now Green up the middle. Robertson the target, clears his head again. Bounce beat Williams. Nick's working hard at half back. Bolton comes to support, he's wrapped up by Miller, taken to ground. Umpire will bounce 48 metres out from the Melbourne goal. Andrew Shawble up and about, was crunched early by Matthew Nicks in a marking contest. Slow to get to his feet, seems to be okay, he stayed out there.
And Adam Goods just hanging out of the contest here. I think he's running with Cameron Bruce, which would be a pretty impressive matchup.
Ball took them on, got it to Bolton. Works it backward to Barry. Went looking for Goods, it's picked off. Good mark taken by Green. He's got White in the pocket by himself. Spots him now, the kick hangs a long time. Ball able to arrive and force it to the deck. Crouch slick hands to Matthews. Bolton gathers. They're under pressure in the back half at the moment, the Swans. Kennelly. Goods at defensive 50, looking for an option. And finally one opens up through the middle of the ground, and Bolton. Jude to Craig. Now Shawble. Nick steps inside Robertson. Goes to centre half forward. Hall the target. Couldn't quite hang on. Maxfield at ground level. Goes himself inside 50. It's a 2-on-2. High ball, they contest 20 metres out. Rivers and Doyle track it back towards the line. And in the end, Rivers happy to see it out. Throw in forward pocket.
Yeah, Rivers got Doyle there, so he's giving away a fair bit of height. Wheatley looks as though he's going to O'Loughlin.
And Nicholson is the other one, now moved on to Barry Hall as everything has settled down. A fair bit of interchanging of responsibilities. A quick grab and snap.
Well, good ruck work, Stephen Doyle. Unfortunately, Ryan O'Keefe couldn't finish it off. Couldn't keep it in the field of play for a score. Out of bounds on the full. Cameron Bruce breaks wide. Brown decides to go across the face of goal. Has Rivers. Whelan short. Runs outside defensive 50. Heads up in the direction of Bizzle to fly. Robertson got a hand in there. Bizzle mops it up. Gives it off. Goes in short to Uze. Good spoil, Crouch. Kirk lays it off to Craig Bolton as Barry Hall short. Kick won't find the target. Nicholson is outnumbered. Barry follows up with a good tackle. Ball spills free. Williams closes. Wheeler gets the tackle. Good pressure, Brown. Releases White, and the Demons are away again.
White goes short up the middle. Robertson on the half volley did well. Swung it back wide to White. Loping run towards forward 50. Waiting for an option. Will go to the pocket. Bruce. Pressured by Kennelly. Reid couldn't get clean hands. Crouch to Kirk. And now Ball. Looks up. Swings it inboard. Kennelly ran forward to provide an option. Here's Luke Ablett accelerating through centre wing. Goes towards O'Loughlin in the pocket. Doyle will arrive late. Good fist by Wheatley. And Melbourne now, it's the numbers at ground level. McDonald will be run down. Got boot to ball, but turned it over. Goods. Swans have now got players in position. Bolton can go inside 50 to Doyle.
Well, both sides risk the corridor with their foot skills. So if you don't hit targets and you turn it over, you're going to get hurt. And they're both good at it, but on that occasion they turned it over, Melbourne.
In many ways, it's unusual for the Swans to be kicking. They've had 32 handballs to Melbourne's 8. They've also had 50 disposals to Melbourne's 25. They've had so much more of the footy, and this has been the second genuine shot at goal, both to the same player.
Double the possessions, yet inside 50s. Melbourne 6, Sydney 5. Here's Doyle from 40 metres out. Missed his first, gets his second. Swans on the board at the Telstra Dome. Stephen Doyle with the opening 1-1 of the game, and it's the Swans by 7 points. 8 minutes gone.
Oh, they're going well. As Jared said, they're getting more of the football. And Doyle's a surprise. I mean, I said before, he's got a lot of height advantage over Rivers when he gets forward. But on that occasion, he just led well.
He's done this before, of course, and at this very ground, when Rodney Eaton was coach, he first announced himself to the footy world, where he kicked 3 or 4, maybe even 5 goals against the Tigers in a loss. And he looks comfortable out of the goal scorer.
First goal coming inside 8.5 minutes. Stephen Doyle has the total Sydney score, 1-1. White gets the ball heading forward. Sydney player slipped over at the bottom moment. Bizzle looks as though he's pushed forward. Good tackle, ball spills out. Phil Reid has support from Cameron Bruce. Normally beautiful user of the football. Towards Neeks. Barry got a hand there. Whistle's blown, free kick given away. And David Neeks, the opportunity to reply quickly to that Stephen Doyle goal.
Yeah, he gets a chance, and it was a good lead and well on it. And you see there the hand just coming over the top. And I thought the free kick was pretty much justified there. But what about Adam Uze? Are you surprised he's lined up in basically as a small forward out of the goal square? There's Russell Robertson, also a small forward.
Yeah, well, Crouch has got Uze, and Craig Bolton's gone to Robinson. So, yeah, I think Uze will float up to the wing and probably come through the midfield as the game progresses.
Leaks off a long run. 2-4 last week. Season total of 68 goals, 41. Pushes it across the face of goal. His first score for the evening. Melbourne 1 behind. They lead trail Sydney 1-1.
Just looking at that handball figure of 32 handballs to Melbourne's 10, I reckon 60% of those would have been in the back 50.
Yeah, they do risk it there, don't they? They like to just try and free up the player, and Leo Barry's very good at that.
Spot on the money, Jared. 13 of them coming in the back 50 out of 32. Some pressure around the outer wing. And the turnover comes to Melbourne. Bruce to Reid. Inside 50. Neeks has got 2 to beat. Bolton back with courage. Nick's wrapped up by Robertson. Umpire will call for a bounce.
Sydney quick to get back. You know, they just push back very hard. Get the numbers there.
Good pressure from the Demons. Forced a turnover. Gives themselves another opportunity. Next in the ruck. Robertson tried to get boot to ball. Spinning out of trouble and then into trouble was Barry. Released the handball. Matthews was slick to Nicks. And the Swans are away towards half forward. It's a wide open forward line. Wheatley and O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin at the back got the bounce. Twisting and turning. 65 from home. Around his body to O'Keefe inside 50. Whelan there with him. And the ball trickles out for a throw in. Great one-on-one contests all over the ground at the moment.
And I think we just saw there evidence of the Swan style. They handball the ball around through the back half, and then as soon as they get a man through, they try and get a quick lead to Barry Hall, or that time Michael O'Loughlin, who was running one out with Wheatley. I thought Wheatley did a pretty good job to neutralise what could have been a chance at goal.
Wheatley's got very good leg speed.
Hall to the back. Here's O'Keefe. Matthews. Good strong tackle again from Godfrey. Bruce goes off the deck, out towards the wing. Uze will get there first, pressured by Crouch. We'll have another throw in. 2 hard-running sides, pushing numbers back in defence. We're going to see a lot of players streaming forward in waves tonight, Peter.
Yeah, no, Jared just said that with Sydney. They try and push back numbers, and then once they break, they move it in quick as they can to O'Loughlin or Hall.
Ball gets rid of White. White has second go at it. Kurt tackled by McDonald. Uze. Born closely by Jared Crouch, and expect that would be the tonic. Adam Uze for the entire match.
And they're so conscious of Barry Hall that they're actually playing one man in front of him, Broadbridge, and another one, Alistair Lynch, behind. You can just see now, Bazza, he's not happy with that bloke in front. He'd rather see him coming from behind.
White gets it forward, and as far as O'Keefe, good tackle. Phil Reid will have a secondary bounce.
It actually used to be the worst spot in football, the bloke who had to stand in the space in front of Tony Lockett. Well, I think now the new worst spot is either in front of Jonathan Brown or Alistair Lynch or Barry Hall.
Well, Tony made sure you didn't stay there for long.
That's right. You either left or you of your own volition or otherwise.
Coming through, Click Bizzle. Socket off the ground by Uze. Hits towards half forward. Williams gathers the ball. That's Paul for Sydney. To Crouch. Tackle. Crowd wants ball. Play on's the call. Melbourne with the numbers. Phil Reid. Heads inside 50. Neeks outnumbered 3-1. Swans with all the support there. David Neeks did well on hands and knees. Couldn't stop it. Rebound out of fifth. Defensive 50 through Kirk. Has Ryan O'Keefe. Decides to go in the direction of Barry Hall on a searching lead. Takes a diving mark and doesn't like the attention from Alistair Nicholson.
No, it was a bit untoward and a little bit late, and Barry Hall, we know, hasn't been all that happy with the amount of attention he's got from opposition players that have gone unrewarded.
And Davis on for Maxfield, and Heflin coming on for James McDonald.
Love a look at Alistair Nicholson's face as he's looking at Barry going, what? What's the matter?
14 free kicks for this season, 29 against Barry, so he's got a fair case. 70 metres from goal. Melbourne with plenty of numbers back. Nick Davis provides the short option. You see there Heffernan along with Matthew Whelan, Simon Godfrey blocking space.
It's really going to be a game of trying to break the lines. The Swans are playing one man short in their forward. In fact, the Demons are playing one man short in their back line, in their forward line, which has given them an extra man in their back line. I'll spit it out shortly, but they've finally got it into Michael O'Loughlin inside that forward 50, and that's the sort of game they're going to have to play if, in fact, they don't bring it in quickly.
Well, Sydney are very good at waiting. They're very patient, waiting to get that ball by foot into their forward 50. You see, Ty Pinelli's had a lot of the ball because he's actually the loose player down in his defence a lot of the time.
4 straight last week. This for his first. Sydney's second. It's a nice looking kick. Michael O'Loughlin has the carry. Yes, it does. And he makes his way towards the bench. Michael O'Loughlin gets his first. I know he's picked up the glove. Sydney get their second. And they're in front by 12 points.
Well, unlike O.J. Simpson, he knew where his glove was. Let's have another look at what preempted this. And here's Barry Hall on the charge. And it didn't look too bad, in my view, Alistair Nicholson. I think a fair and honest player. But Barry hasn't given him the benefit of the doubt.
I think Barry's just saying, I don't want any attention, thank you.
Marking his territory early.
Oh, well, why not? You know, I mean, he is intimidating, so...
Swans by 12 points. Good start for them at the Telstra Dome. Doyle got the tap. Bolton got boot to ball. Relatively ineffective, only as far as Uze. Reid. Handball picked off by Goods. Ablett slides in, takes possession and gives it to Kirk. Now the Swans running. Here's Davis. Runs to 50 metres. Attacks the square. O'Loughlin. Whitley just slipped at the crucial moment. O'Loughlin kept his eyes on the football and in the end took an uncontested mark.
Such a talented player. Must have given you headaches over the years as a coach, Peter, to match up on this bloke. He's had a number of injuries, we know, but he looks like he's coming back in a dangerous form.
And he's deceptively tall and a good mark, so you've got to be careful. You play a quick player who's small, he'll get them in the air, and vice versa. You get an immobile player or a slow-moving player and you can't match him.
Going with the banana. O'Loughlin for his second in a minute. He's got it. He's hot tonight. Swans have got 3. Great start for Sydney. They're 3-1. The Demons just one behind. Get inside 50s, 9-8 in favour of Melbourne. Sydney have been very efficient going forward.
And blocking up the space down there for themselves in their back line. They get back very quick.
And they look as if they have changed strategies because they've pushed Cameron Bruce into the goal square.
Michael O'Loughlin kicks Sydney's 3rd goal. Leading possession winners. Ty Kennelly with 7. Matthew Wheeler from Melbourne with 5. Back in the middle, Doyle went early. White got the tap. Hard in off the line, Miller. Somehow got it to Jeff White. The kick hangs in the air. Brown getting there first. Takes a good diving mark.
Different style of coaching last week against Port Adelaide. They effectively took Brown up the ground and made him responsible. Today, the Swans have put Nick Davis, an attacking player, on Brown.
Wheeler headed in the direction of Green. Couldn't take the mark. Kennelly, possession number 8. Back to Craig Bolton. Still deep in defensive 50. Releases the kick. A dangerous one. Still up to the task. Jason Ball has a runner in Luke Ablett. This is where they've been good. Couldn't break the Bulls tackle. Lucky not to be holding the ball. Goods is in support. Then heavily by White. Paul releases the big runner in Doyle. Swans linking up by hands. Good tackle, Godfrey. They'll have a bounce.
Goods can push forward there because he was left at the bounce as a spare man in his defence, and then he's taken the initiative and pushed forward, and business had to go to him now.
Controversial one, that one. The Demon supporters here expecting a free kick, but I'm sure the umpires say just not quite retarded enough.
Uze pushes back. Goes to stop it off the ground. Fresh air swing. Barry Hall under some pressure to Jarrett Crouch fortuitously. Could this be number 4? No. Pulls it left.
Well, he's gone up into the forward line following Adam Uze, and there was an opportunity that's gone begging. Jarrett Crouch, who believes in his own self that he's one of the Swans' major goal kickers, so he'll be disappointed that he's missed that opportunity.
Whelan to the wing, and Reid. It was a clean kick in from Melbourne. Spectacular from Kennelly. Landed heavily, and then got it again at ground level. Wasn't expecting it. In the end, it was forced to the line. But at the moment, the Swans playing this game on their own terms, getting numbers back in the defensive 50, and then running forward. And that's the way they love to play their football.
Showed his leg speed then, Kennelly. Very quick.
Ball against White. Sydney making all the early running at the moment. Bolton, another clearance towards Crouch. Just took his eyes off it. Didn't quite complete the mark. Nicholson to Uze. Under pressure again. Kirk can now set up for Sydney. Inside 50, Davis the target. The fist came from Whelan. O'Loughlin looking dangerous. Lays a tackle on Bizzle. And another on Wheatley. Tries to crash through. Davis takes him to ground and will have a bounce. The Swans sticking their tackles at the moment, working very hard in close.
They are, and I think that's what Neil Danaher's message will be at quarter time, that my eyes are telling me that they're winning basically the one-on-ones and also winning the loose ball.
Oh, definitely. Ball took it out of the ruck. That'll be holding the ball. Advantage will be paid. White to McDonald. Now Bizzle. Again under pressure. Melbourne just with no time at the moment. White to Heffernan was clever. Up the middle of the ground. He's got a runner on the outside. It's McDonald. Looks up. Bruce leads at 50. Neeks goes as well. He goes towards Neeks and it's cut off by Neeks.
Just a little bit predictable and one-dimensional at the moment, and the Swans, with their players back, are really anticipating the lead to David Neitz.
They were lining up for the switch of play down the broadcast side. Neitz went the alternate. They found Goods on centre wing on the City side of the ground. O'Loughlin off for a spell. And Buchanan pushing forward for the Swans. As Goods will go short and find Ablett. Much improved player. Set it up. Broadbridge cut it off. Bruce the beneficiary. He can go towards Neitz inside 50. The fist from Barry. At ground level, Miller tried to get onto his right boot. Neitz run down. Again, pressure from Sydney. And again, they can charge off half back through Bolton.
Inside the centre square, Hall on the lead. Drills the pass. Barry takes a sliding mark. Good build-up.
You can't criticise Nicholson for that one, or the other pass that Barry Hall snapped up, because they were just impossible to prevent.
Hall heads out wide towards Goods. Taken late by Broadbridge. I don't think so.
Just that last turnover from the Swans, Stuart Maxfield, he waited for it, didn't he? And it wasn't such a great kick, but Maxfield, I guess, needed to attack.
O'Keefe, top of the square. Second attempt, couldn't take the mark. Ball spills free. Davis on hands and knees. Collision course there, O'Keefe and Barry Hall. Whistles blown. Well, Ryan O'Keefe is awarded a free kick for a push in the back.
Well, he just got in first, and that's symptomatic of the Swans, the way they're playing. They're first to the footy, and they're getting the rewards.
I thought it was a pretty tough free kick, though. He looked to me as if he was going to the ground. I know Alistair Nicholson fell on his back, but in a previous life, Swabby, you were the umpire's coach, and I reckon you may have thought that one was perhaps a little bit lenient.
Well, that's the laws, isn't it? Like, is it a pusher or a back, or did the player push himself forward? But he's got the free anyway.
Got the free kick, Peter, but unfortunately couldn't kick it straight. Gets his first behind as Darren Jolly comes on for his first run of the evening, replacing Jeff White.
And the Swans may, in fact, rue their lack of conversion, because they have totally dominated this quarter, not dissimilar to their earlier match this year where they dominated for 3 quarters and then basically fell to sleep, and Melbourne just kept persisting and kept working and finally overcame Sydney and really started their tumultuous rise to the top.
6 scoring shots to 1, a fair reflection of Sydney's dominance at this stage. Azuze goes wide to the wing and finds Miller, presenting an option up the ground. Spears it towards 50. Robertson out on the lead. Great effort from Craig Bolton to arrive late. Twisted over the boundary, which is where we find Tiffany Cherry.
Michael O'Loughlin hurt himself a few minutes ago, and he just took himself off the ground. In fact, actually, he's coming back on now. He's got a mild corky, but yet all clear. He's fine.
Melbourne have been inside 50 12 times for just 2 possessions as the Swans get numbers back and shut their forward line down. Broadbridge, third man up. Kennelly happy to work to the boundary line and find it. Under 2 minutes remaining until quarter time. As we've mentioned, the Swans playing this game on their own terms.
And just having a look at Phil Reid there. He is playing Captain Kirk like Captain Kirk generally plays someone else. He's scragging him, he's dragging him, he's pushing him away from the contest.
McDonald went up, got the fist to it. Now a chance to gather it just inside the line. Uze, a miscommunication, wasn't expecting it. Melbourne just not quite on song in the opening term, but fortunately the Swans have been a little wayward with their kicking. The damage isn't as bad as it could have been. Jolly on to give White a spell, as Wayne Schwass mentioned. Perkin underneath it. And Reedy's shadow all over him again. Ball up.
Looks like Brown's going to Williams, and
Doyle and Jolly. Uze tracks it back, and he's got Crouch wearing him like a glove tonight. Heffernan. Pressure from Sydney at the moment, just really forcing Melbourne to hurry their possessions.
I've got a feeling the Reverend may fire up at quarter time. It's such an important game. He's not against giving the boys a nice old wake-up call at quarter time. I think we might see one of his finest.
Well, I think they need it. You know, they've come off a bad loss and they've started slowly, so you know, this game could slip away before they know it. I think you've said 3-3 is probably not the margin they deserve, Sydney, for the way they've been playing.
Under a minute remaining to a quarter time as Neil Danaher just chooses his profanities, gets them in order. Doyle, Uze, ricochets, out of bounds on the full. Boundrap will do well to spot who that was.
And the team is still persisting with the spare man in defence. I just wonder at some stage probably where the runner doesn't go out and say, listen, we go back to man on man.
Because what will end up happening is Woods will be freed up, and he's too damaging if he's got no one on him.
We've seen Robertson run under the football 4 or 5 times in this first term. Ablett.
Here's the spare man.
2-on-1, and Broadbridge makes the numbers count. Time for Melbourne to have one last roll of the dice in this term. Need to move it on. 20 seconds remaining. Sydney got plenty of numbers, build a wall across half back. So we'll go short to Nicholson. Can now kick across that line. Inside 50. Doyle went to ground. That gave Neitz an opportunity. Boot to ball. 10 seconds remaining. Heffernan, no way, that was 15. Play on. Williams flashed across your screen. Buchanan stands tall for the Swans. And the danger passes as Goods gets a handball away. And the siren sounds for quarter time. Free kick going Sydney's way. Won't matter. It will be quarter time here at the Telstra Dome. Sydney 3-3-21. Good start from them. Melbourne a bit flat, just one behind.
Yeah, I think both sides got to play behind the ball. It really does come down to who uses the football better. And if you're not comfortable with it, if you don't think you're using the ball well, you've just got to probably man up.
Quarter time at the Telstra Dome. We'll keep our cameras on Neil Danaher. It's the Swans by 20 points.
Sunday, the Adelaide Crows host the Never Say Die Tigers with a whole lot of pride on the line. Adelaide versus Richmond Sunday on Fox Footy Channel.
I can't wait to get on Jacko's boat and give him a new rig a go. This is too good to be true.
Jacko! Hey, boys! Hey! Hey!
Oh, he's torn it this time. Wait till everyone hears about this.
Welcome aboard, fellas.
So what do you call this, Jacko?
Thought we were spending a week on a fishing boat.
Yeah, keep your hat on.
I told you to be no good. Oh, that's social.
This is fantastic.
Good as gold.
Make the move to digital and get on the A-list for entertainment. Choose the news that matters to you at the touch of a button. Impress your mates with sports coverage like no other. Relax to 24 channels of uninterrupted CD quality music and discover a super simple way to navigate it all. So much extra value for as little as $2.50 extra a week, plus connection fee. There's never been a better time to experience all the digital offers. Call your service provider today.
Hey, Cooter. Collingwood?
Nah, Carlton.
Collingwood, mate.
You were dreaming, Bucks. Carlton.
Oh, mate. We'll just have to agree to disagree.
Okay.
Quarter time at the Telstra Dome, and it's been Sydney making the running in the opening term. They're 3-3-21. Melbourne one behind. The Swans dominating the run of play, really playing this game on their own terms at the moment, pushing numbers back inside their own defensive 50 and streaming forward out of defence as we know they like to play. And gentlemen, as we take a look at the numbers, the glaring one there, Jared, uncontested possessions. The Swans just getting a lot of free ball.
They are, and they share it around a lot. When you've had 56 handballs in a quarter, which is, I reckon, almost double what your average side would have, you have to have uncontested possessions. And but they have been doing it without a lot of pressure coming from the Demons, and I think it's that pressure that has to change, or the Demons are going to drop a match.
Peter, you've got the stat sheets in front of you. What's jumping out off the page?
Well, the pressure that Sydney's applying to Melbourne, if you look at the kicks, Melbourne's ineffective kicking rate is extremely high. The handballs are right up for Sydney, obviously, but and a couple of players haven't had it. I mean, Green's only had a couple, and Well, Hefner was on and off the bench. Tuesday's had 5, but I think everyone's been under pressure, so you know, they're just struggling probably to use the ball as well as they can, and as you said, the uncontested football, Sydney's getting too much of it.
Let's head boundary side. Here's Tiffany Cherry.
Well, I can tell you for Melbourne, the skipper not too well for that quarter break, and whatever was left in his stomach doesn't exist anymore, but he's still on the ground and he's okay. As for Sydney, well, Paul Williams came off just before the break, the siren sounded, and had some treatment done to his right thumb, but he's okay. And the same for Michael O'Loughlin, his right knee, a little bit of treatment, but he's fine as well.
Peter, what about Ben Holland? Pretty one-dimensional, the Demons, going to Neats and they're getting blocked off. We know Ben Holland is a great goal kicker. It looks as if they may have brought him onto the ground, in fact, and I think that's a good move. They've got Miller, they're going a bit taller, and they've got Schauble on Ben Holland. They've got Bruce as well, and maybe Bruce on the goods at some stage. A bloke who can run off goods and kick goals may be an option for the Demons.
Yeah, and just make him accountable. I just think you can't afford goods to be just floating across the back line on it, you know, without a man.
Second term at the Telstra Dome.
It's got to be a free kick.
Russell Robertson to the bench as part of that forward line shuffle. We'll have a secondary bounce, gentlemen. We saw Russell Robertson attack 4 or 5 footballs in that first quarter, and they continually seem to go over his head. Is that a timing issue, Peter?
Oh, look, at least he's trying to get to the football. I mean, he hasn't had it, but at least he's trying, and that'll come. I mean, he's that sort of player, Russell. He works hard, and if you can keep working to where the footy is.
Bizzle, third man up, slapped to open space, ricocheted off Crouch. Chance for the Demons. Green got the hands free. Goods run down. Good strong pressure there from Bell. It's spilt to White for the Demons first. Great start, second term Melbourne. Jeff White kicks a goal. Well, maybe the rev up from the Reverend got them going. Certainly got one ball out of the middle. Brought it forward with physical pressure. A good tackle there from young Daniel Bell, and it opened up for Jeff White.
Yeah, well, good on Bell. A young kid on, and he gives them enthusiasm. And all he did was a great tackle, and they got a goal. So they should all be running to him and saying, well done, son. That's fantastic.
And a great strength of Jeff White. Ruckman 1 minute, Rucker over the next. Running wide of the pack, getting the handball. He's always been a good kick, and he got the Demons away.
Jeff White gets the Demons' first goal tonight in the first minute of the second quarter. And gets the tap out again. They head forward. Miller off the line. Couldn't take possession. Matthews has support, and Jude Bolton gives it off to his namesake, and Craig. They go forward again, this time through Ben Matthews towards Michael O'Loughlin. On the second attempt, takes a juggling mark. A little bit too easy there, transferring the ball forward with little pressure from Melbourne. O'Loughlin to the pocket, got Adam Goods all alone. Drifted forward and takes an easy mark, and a chance to reply quickly to that Melbourne goal in the first minute of the second quarter.
10 possessions coming up to Adam Goods. He started on the wing. Clint Bizzle is his direct opponent, and they did so well trying to just keep the space open at that half-forward zone, and O'Loughlin starts from about 25 metres out from goal. Took a nice chest mark. Ben Matthews spotted him up. Knew exactly where he was going to be. But this would have been frustrating, I reckon, for Neil Danaher, the fact that Goods is allowed to get free.
Yeah, look, he's dangerous, and you know, look, I think he's trying to man him up, but he just found the space.
Adam Goods for goal number 4 for Sydney. Starts at left. Couldn't bring it back enough. This is her first behind for the night.
7 scoring shots to 2. At the margin, just 15 points. Bouze to the City side. Hits Rivers at defensive 50. Bell's broken to the wing for him. He honours that effort. He comes away from Crouch too. Sold him the dummy beautifully. Goes to Miller. It was tidy from Daniel Bell. A couple of impressive things early in the second term. The youngster from Glenelg. The ball's with Miller. That's what he's got in front of him inside 50. He'll go long in the Neats direction. Neats sets himself. 2 to beat in the air again. At ground level. Ball spills out to Heffernan. Lays it across the left boot and misses. Melbourne looking a little bit more dangerous early in the second term. And they just need to get the ball inside 50 quickly to counteract Swans pushing numbers back.
He's a unique player, Leo Barry. He's got that vertical leap that allows him to climb all over players. And he went very early there, prevented David Neats getting a full jump at it. He's got such a good leap that he doesn't have to use his hands.
No, he's a very powerful player. Very, very quick, but as you said, he can really jump.
Plenty of congestion ahead, so Nix elects not to kick to a contest. Takes the last resort option short in the back pocket. Paul Bevan given the hurry up. He'll also go short to retain possession. Finds Leo Barry at the top of the goal square. Barry now to Nix. Just had a couple of metres on Neats, and they open it up. around the broadcast side. O'Loughlin will be the next link in the chain. It was a beautifully weighted kick, but Whitley did very well. He stayed on that contest. He could have been a step or two off it. Just closed in the last couple of strides and got the fist in.
And that is one of the problems that Mick O'Loughlin's got. He actually was flagging getting to that footy. He slowed up. His wind tank isn't anywhere near what it should be. And rather than being on the burst, he'd worked all his way, used all his energy getting there. And Wheatley, as you said, was able to close easily.
Bruce, the third man up. Fisted again inside 50. O'Keefe will track it back for the Swans. Shawbull lays a bump on him after giving him the football.
Does that go on the stat?
A double stat as Barry goes around the outer side. Miller did well, got his hands up, didn't interfere, interrupted the marking effort, and Crouch could toe poke it only as far as Bizzle. Chance now for Melbourne on the turnover. Broadbridge has got some time, chips to 50 and finds Holland.
Good signs here for Melbourne. They really have turned the pressure around, and right now they've got the initiative.
Bruce and Leeks at the top of the square. Bruce leads now. Heffernan lurking. Bruce over the top. Williams went in the air to force it to ground. Kirk at ground level. Whelan paddles it in front of himself. Bruce still in the contest. On the left boot. Bends it to the top of the square. Numbers there for the Swans. And Bolton can take it away around the city side.
To Canelli, who had a terrific first quarter. Good kick finds Maxfield. Plenty of space up in the forward line for Barry Hall to work. Crouch pushes forward.
Sorry, Wayne, as you can see, Uze has been pushed further wider, and he's now going on that Maxfield.
Towards Barry Hall. James McDonald did well. Stood his ground. Barry Hall recovers the loose ball. Has a loose man in the middle of the ground. That's Jude Bolton. Off to Canelli again. Through the middle of the ground. Gets forward of centre. Advantage paid. Heads towards the goal square. Doyle wrestles. Got rid of his opponent. Jared Rivers wants a free kick. He pleads with the umpire. And on this occasion, Stephen Doyle worked his way to the front position and takes an easy mark.
Doyle is causing concerns. He's just too big, physically big for Rivers.
Maybe they're going to have to throw Ben Holland down there. He's a bloke that has played some football at centre half back and should be capable of going with Doyle.
Doyle for goal number 2. No problems there. Sydney get their fourth.
It's a difficult one because if you move, say, Nicholson over to him, you take him away from Hall, and he's been good on Hall. So maybe they just need to leave it for a little bit longer and see what happens.
12 centimetres and 18 kilos the difference between Rivers and Doyle.
One of the problems is the way the ball's coming in, though. They just have been able to get Ty Canelli, who's now up to 10 possessions, running out of that back line. Craig Bolton's also done some great work. We know that Leo Barry has done some run. Got to hold it in their forward line, Melbourne.
So Stephen Doyle with 2 goals. The Swans going tall up forward to stretch the Melbourne defence. They've got Goods in there, they've got Ball in there, they've got Hall in there. And then Doyle pushes forward as well. White the tap. Kirk wrapped up by McDonald. And Melbourne, Neil Danaher would be looking at his options. Maybe a Ben Holland who's playing forward at the moment. But they really wouldn't want to disrupt that forward structure too much. But Rivers at the moment giving away 18 kilos to Stephen Doyle. Ball gets the tap. Brown goes to ground. Good clean hands out of Bell. High ball inside 50. Holland and Bruce, Melbourne's best chance. Off hands. Williams to tidy up for the Swans.
Dangerous ball this one.
Now to Bevan. Sweeps a little handball over the top. Chance for Leo Barry to run onto it. Barry twists and turns. Tries to get away from Holland, who did very well to corral him only momentarily. And Leo comes away. Tumbles a kick up the middle. Undid some of his good work. Nicholson led Hall to the football. Had numbers in support. Handball missed the body. Here's Green. Good effort from Canelli. Socket to his own advantage. Will gather inside the line. Brown came flashing across. Didn't lay body on body. Kick was partly smothered by Uze. Heffernan. White. Uze dribbles to Green. And the D's are away. Green will go inside 50. Good standing tall. Will pick it off.
Plays on quickly. Jude Bolton comes back inside to Matthew Nix. He's got support from Craig Bolton. Can go out the other side to Matthews. Over the top to Williams. Gets inside 50. Paul Williams. Jared Crouch. He's on the run. Can he make amends for the miss in the first quarter? Yes, he does.
Just their run. You get their run going. The handball through the middle. Extra numbers. They're playing very, very well, Sydney. They're just running the ball by hand and setting it up perfectly as they come through.
41 more possessions. We'll see this goal eventuate on the end of it, Jared Crouch. And, well, as he said, he's one of Sydney's best goal kickers. But it was really the poor kick coming into the Sydney back line, and Adam Goods was really spotted up. That's where it started.
Yeah. 41 more possessions for Sydney, and 37 of those are handballs as they just run Melbourne off their legs at the moment, setting up across half back.
I think they've got to bite the bullet and change the Goods match-up. I think Cameron Bruce is the obvious one because he can hurt you going forward.
McDonald launches it inside 50. Bruce at the front of the contest. Nicks did enough. Shawble. Bevan dived on it. White's kick smothered. And Nicks again, they look to set up off half back. Matthews slipped. Melbourne in there working hard to hold it in. Leaks to Heffernan. Now a chance for the Demons through Whelan. He'll go long to the square. Barry drifts back in best position. Couldn't quite bring it down. Bruce and Kennelly see it to the line as Doyle will come off for the Swans and will be replaced by Nick Davis as Paul Roos does a shuffle.
And at the other end of the ground, they've had to try and break the tag of Adam Uzo, and he's now just at centre-half back for Melbourne, picking up Stewie Maxfield, which isn't going to help them kick goals.
Ball disposed of his opponent. And again, Sydney via a chain of handballs open up some space across half back. Williams on the end of it. He's got a couple of options over the top. Will go longer to the wing. Maxfield worked off Uze beautifully to mark. They keep streaming forward to the ball. Got options inside 50. Matthews there as well. He doesn't see him. He'll go longer towards Hall. For 2-on-2. There is Matthews lurking in the pocket. Just wasn't spotted. Throw in.
Well, you know, we've said it at the back line, Kennelly, Woods, they're just all running and setting up, getting forward quickly. As soon as they win possession of the ball, they're prepared to run. And at the moment, they just look sharper than Melbourne. They do.
26 points the margin. We've played 11 minutes, second term at the Telstra Dome. Saturday night football right around Australia.
Barry Hall and Jeff White. Barry Hall stays down. Has Buchanan if he wants him, but that's a good hand in there by Jared Rivers. Sees the ball out of bounds and will have another throw in.
One of the great advantages of having Barry Hall up in that forward line is he's so proficient as a ruckman. You see that maybe Stephen Doyle getting a little bit of a treatment from the physio, but here it is again. Both times we've seen the ruckman too far back to the throwing.
Doyle, the ball it is, gets a handball from Buchanan. Will it carry? O'Loughlin gives the Shepherd. Sydney get their sixth, and it's all becoming a little bit too easy.
The ball just swept off as the ruck and let Hall take it, and it just fell to him. And Nicholson really should have probably been on him because he wasn't that far off the pack.
It is a problem, I guess, player accountability when Nicholson isn't generally his man, Jason Ball, but he has to be responsible.
Well, he either sits in the hole or he takes his man. He takes one or the other. He got caught in between there.
The Sydney big men continuing to have an impact. Stephen Doyle getting some work on his hip. Between Doyle and Ball, they've kicked 3 of Sydney's 6 goals. And now Ball's in the ruck. Got the tap. Bizzle. Now to Green. Melbourne need to get some momentum going. Inside 50, Kennelly. He and Barry, just the playmakers. They're the architects across half back. And when they get plenty of the football and some time and space to use it, it adds up to trouble. Ball to Goods. Back to Ball. Goes towards half forward. Broadbridge against Davis, who's on the ground for Doyle. Davis laid a tackle on Rivers, going nowhere. Umpire will say holding the ball. Rivers made no attempt to get rid of it. Frustrating night so far for the youngster. Nick Davis now set up for the Swans. Hall's inside 50. Ablett's alone at centre half forward. Davis didn't see him. Goes to the contest. In the end, Green will kick it off.
Been watching Adam Goods pretty closely. He seems to have fallen into a bit of a habit of every time he gets a possession, particularly a loose possession, he tries to walk and take on a man. And he hasn't become unstuck at some stage, but clubs will wake up to those little idiosyncrasies of players.
Wheatley to the wing and finds Miller. As Bolton slipped over. Brad Miller sets his sights inside 50. Again, Shawble up over the top, brought it to ground. Bevan, fierce handball to Nicks. Shawble has to stand up in the tackle. He's run down by Williams. There's a free kick over the shoulder. It's coming back to Matthew Nicks.
I think David Meeks gave him a bit of treatment after the possession. There's a frustrated Melbourne fan tries to fire up the boys.
Things going wrong for the D's at the moment. A week ago they were sitting top of the table for the first time in 10 years. They lost tonight and could be outside the top 4.
Trailing by 32 points. Buchanan receives the kick from Leo Barry. Melly and Goods both with 12 possessions. Drew Bolton 11 and Leo Barry 11. That tells its own story. Barry Hall takes an easy mark. Too far from goal. O'Loughlin wants it quick. Heads towards the pocket. Turn finds Ryan O'Keefe. Dubious 15. Ryan O'Keefe loads up from outside 50. Won't make the distance in the goal square. Jason Ball couldn't take the mark. Rush through for a behind.
Big men there again.
Yeah, well, he nearly grabbed it. I mean, Paul's been good. He's been very good in the ruck. O'Keefe dominating, not dominating, but a very dominant left-sided player, and don't want to let him have the ball anywhere near the 50.
Swans individually now being able to play the game on their own terms. As a unit, they've got the tempo they wanted, and now Sydney players able to take the initiative against their one-on-one opponents and drag them all over the ground to wherever they want to be.
Talking about dragging, they put Luke Williams onto Ty Cannelli as a half forward, but in effect he's taking him to the goal square. Adam Goods continues to dominate this match.
And he runs off to 55. Goods, it's a tumbling kick. O'Loughlin will get on the end of it. It's all Sydney at the moment, playing with enormous confidence and starting to take some liberties with their Melbourne opponents. O'Loughlin to go back and kick for his third.
I think just the way that Adam Goods was able to play off there, Peter, gave us an insight into maybe the mentality at the moment of a few of the Melbourne players.
Yeah, just lack of concentration. I mean, Bizzle has him. He's sort of playing as a wing. Maybe it's a time for a change there. And I think Wheatley was a bit unlucky. He just got caught out and just lost sight of O'Loughlin there for a moment.
Someone needs to stand up and change the trend of this match for Melbourne. You can't see where it's coming from at the moment. O'Loughlin, 15 metres out. Sneaks it inside the left post, does he? Yes, sir. Margin 39 points. Michael O'Loughlin has 3. And when you consider they've kicked 7-5 and really missed a couple they could have kicked, it would have been an even more dominant performance. But 39 points as we approach time on in the second term. I'm sure Paul Rue's more than satisfied with that.
Oh yeah, well he's in control of the game. And the one thing with Sydney backline, they just really read the ball well in the air and they back themselves and go for it. And then they run.
Michael O'Loughlin with his 3rd goal for the evening. Takes his tally to 6 separate occasions he's kicked 3 goals against the Demons, so he does enjoy playing against Melbourne. Brown, met heavily by Buchanan. Heffernan, was he taken high? Yes. Called to play on now. Corralled by Nick Vay. Gets onto the left boot. Heads up towards Holland. Who'll fly, needs to be strong, and is. Neeks one out with Barry. And that's where he heads. Sits the kick up. David Neeks couldn't take the mark. Play on. Ball trapped in there by Bevan and Nix. And we'll have a bounce. 30 from goal. Been hard work for David Neeks. You'd have to say his delivery from midfield players haven't been the best tonight.
Well, there's a change. We've got Bruce going to Goods. So Goods might go forward now.
Holland got it down to Neeks. Whelan. Can he provide the spark? Ball trickles across the face of goal. And again, Sydney with numbers. Releases Mick Bay, who has Drew Bolton in support, and they're away again.
O'Keefe can work it around the City side. Long lead from O'Loughlin. He's got a couple to beat. Free kick against O'Loughlin for holding. Melbourne fans with a Bronx cheer as Wheatley takes the free kick. Uze, now they try to get some runs through the lines. Reid, back to Uze. Opens up Bizzle but missed the target. Now confronted by Cannelli. Goes back to Uze. They're trying to manufacture something. Here's Brown from 45. Can go inboard to Miller. Can he hang on? 2 grabs. Buchanan. Ripped off the football. Shawble. Bolton. And Sydney stand tall again. Ablett has it just backward to the centre. Numbers peeling off. Bolton to Williams. His trademark if he can get round Rivers. He really wants to. Back to Bolton. High ball inside 50. Nicholson attacks it. O'Keefe with the spillage. Hall tries to crash through a couple. O'Keefe Gets it back again. Kirk lurking. Ablett off a step. 40 metres out. Has it got the carry to the line? No. Good effort from Cameron Bruce. As we head boundary side, here's Tiff.
Swans skipper Stuart Maxwell came off about 3 minutes ago, indicating a problem with his left foot. He's just gone down the race with an ice pack.
Bruce to Rivers. The youngster has it at defensive 50 over the top to Broadbridge. As Melbourne try to generate some run, takes his man Matthews on. Broadbridge to half forward. Miller the target. Bizzle waiting at ground level, but Kennelly got the crumb. Across his body to Matthews. Matthews looks up. Spears to Goods on centre wing. Chance now for the Swans. Goods again with time and space. Can link up with O'Keefe. Puts it back into the path of Goods. A little bit of showtime football from the Swans at the moment, the last couple of forays. And he's run down by Brown. Reid, Heffernan and Melbourne now gritting their teeth.
Need to stand up the Demons. They got the opening goal, but they've allowed Sydney to get the next 4. Jolly has Wheatley out wide. He's pleading for it.
Nico Locker knows he's in trouble. He's looking for some help on Wheatley.
And drives it inside 50. Neeks, one out with Barry. Barry gets rid of David Neeks. Getting back there, Matthew Nicks. Pressured by Whelan. Out of bounds. We'll have a throw in left forward pocket.
And Goods comes off and they push ball forward, so Bruce now has ball as a defender, so they won't want that.
And it's not surprising that Whelan has gone into the forward line. Somebody has to hold this football into that forward line. There's a back pocket. They've also got Luke Williams there. Neil Danaher just trying to change the mix-up of that forward line.
Williams can't break the next tackle.
Well, they look like they might try and break the tag that way, Sydney with Goods, so...
They finally got him. He feigned the handball and lost the possession.
Lots of numbers in the Melbourne forward 50. Holland with Doyle. Traps the ball in. Needs to get it out. Comes out, ricochets in the hands of Neeks. Sits the ball high up and under. Flying high. Andrew Shawber with a good chest mark. And the Swans break away. Kurt or McVeigh. Take your pick. Started on the bench, Jared McVeigh. Called to play on. Kennelly runs through the middle of the ground. Goes further wide. Davis has to sit. Takes the mark. Whelan closes late. Williams, Uze read it better. Starting to get involved, the playmaker, Adam Uze. Heads up towards 50, but that's a poor kick over the head of Bevan. Beats Holland, has time to recover. Was he pushed in the back? No, play on. Whelan, the man Jared spoke about, gets it inside 50. Swans with the numbers. This time Shawble got to the front. Gathers the loose ball, and the Swans will rebound again. Tempo just lifted in the last 5 or so minutes. Melbourne really summoning a contest. Can't get it on the board though, as McVeigh receives from Nixon, goes for a run. Chips now to Ablett. He's got some runners inside. Kennelly switches it out wide to Davis. Looks up. O'Loughlin leads to the pocket. Ball's at the top of the square. He goes for ball. It's a 2-on-1. Jolly gets back, did well. Got it to ground. Bruce. O'Keefe. Across the face. Misses.
Backfield back onto the ground. O'Keefe not quite finding the sticks at the moment, and the field umpire a little bit concerned about that decision. He thinks it's out in the full, and the field umpire thinks it's a behind.
Steve McBurney just holds up play. Wheatley wants to bring it back in just until they confer. Just checking, saying all clear. If you believe it, we'll call it a point.
Just going back to the Cameron Bruce one, they're breaking the tag by bringing Goods off for a rest. But Russell Robertson coming back on, there is vision, and had just one behind. Good decision from the umpire, according to our number one commentator here. But Cameron Bruce, it may hurt them down the track. And when there's only a couple of minutes to go in this quarter, but him loose is a pretty risky affair.
Yeah, Melbourne just starting to get some flow and making some play of their own in the last 6 or 7 minutes, but they just haven't quite been able to put together enough links in the chain.
No, they just can't get into their forward line without Sydney having numbers back there. And it's just, Sydney are just able to do it. They're working hard. They must be working hard to get back there as quick as they do.
Goods back on.
Doyle back in the contest. Whelan at the back's been important. Trying to pick this side up. As Godfrey goes inside 50, now they hit a target. It's Holland. It's been a long time in coming.
Well, Sydney couldn't get back then because it was a stoppage, so they broke from the stoppage. But in general play, they are able to.
Signs looking better for Melbourne in the last 6 or 7 minutes. They just need to start converting on the scoreboard. And Ben Holland with the first opportunity to do so. Margin 41 points. margins of that will count for little in modern day football. Melbourne just needs some momentum and belief. Holland with the opportunity to give them some. And he obliges. The D's have got their second. Important goal before half-time for Melbourne. The margin back to 35 points. I think Neil Danaher, as they head to the half-time break, will be starting to talk up some of the positives from the last 10 minutes of this term.
And that, you know, they can play a lot better. You know, they've had a very, very ordinary first half. They're a much better footy side than that, and he'll be looking at talking about what they can do in the second half.
It's not surprising, though, that they got that open forward line when Adam Goods came from the ground, because he's been the master of dropping into the hole.
He's back on, and he's back up in the forward line, but he just runs anywhere he likes, Adam, which is fine. I mean, that's smart. It opens up their forward line.
And I think it's important, that's why it's important to have Bruce on him, because if he goes forward or goes into defence, then Bruce can go with him and become an attacking goal kicker.
Ball comes out in the direction of Miller. Pressured by Buchanan. Brown getting busy, as is this man coming off the bench only a few moments ago. But that was a poor kick under some pressure. Out of bounds on the full. 35 points the margin as we approach half-time.
I suspect the instruction to Adam Goods will don't be that trying to be that loose man across the half-back line because of the change in the matchup.
Barry sits the kick up for Doyle. Strong work by Jolly. Gathers the loose ball. Maxfield cuts the handball off. Heffernan. Tackled by Crouch. Matthews to Maxfield. To the man in question, Goods. Has a bounce. Chased by Reid. Well, perhaps that's a little bit of Larry football. Maxfield gets a foot to the ball. Goods. Was he tripped? No. Ball comes out. Reid to Broadbridge. Has support, and Bruce couldn't find the target. Ablett. Tackled on the boundary line. The ball goes out of bounds and we'll have a throw in.
Melbourne really have gritted their teeth in the last 10 minutes. Sydney going forward on a number of occasions have been maybe just a touch flashy.
Yeah, I think Adam could have put that in there with a longer kick. But it's a strength of their game to find a loose player.
Lehman's starting to build an appetite for some hard work here, and they need to. Nathan Brown. Melbourne starting to make the play. Here's Miller.
Got to be close to 50.
Mackay gives him the benefit of the doubt. Now Melbourne finding loose men. It's Reid. Neats hangs off 45 from goal. Almost as a decoy as Reid goes to the pocket. Here's Green and Nix. Crouch has got some time. Assesses his options. Goes down the line to Nix. And he tumbles a kick towards Matthews and or the boundary line. Finds neither. Eventually does find the line. The clearances in the term 10-4 in favour of Melbourne. They are starting to win the contested football.
Yeah, no, there's better signs for Melbourne. Not on the scoreboard, but in general play.
35 points the margin as we close in on half-time. Doyle attack. Down to Matthews. He's wrapped up by Heffernan.
And they're back to a regulation six-man forward line, Melbourne, and it really has suited them. It's, I think the issue of just trying to lock up on Adam Goods has prevented them from getting that loose man going at all these stoppages, and they're starting to dominate them.
Ablett soccers off the deck. Except this for Hall. O'Keefe. In some space. Again, a penetrating left foot kick. Got contest 25 out from goal. Ball goes to ground. Uze now a chance. Wants to set something up. Goes for a run. Sets Bruce a target. It's one-on-one with Goods. Goods got a hand of the football and then won it at ground level. Hooks it back inside 50. Awkward bounce for ball. Melbourne now a chance. 25 seconds remaining as Rivers goes to Neats on centre wing. He's got Williams and Holland inside 50. Needs to move it quickly. Goes to Miller. 55 out. 10 seconds remaining. Here's Robertson. Chance for the Demons.
It's a free kick coming back to Melbourne, I think.
9 seconds on the clock. It's going to come back to Whelan. Needs to spot a target inside 50. The lead comes now from Heffernan, and he's got it. 40 metres out, 45-degree angle to kick after the siren. This to reduce the margin to 29 points. And for Melbourne to head to the half-time break with their tails up. Free kick already paid by that stage, and it came back to Whelan, who found Heffernan. Important kick. Looks good off the boot. Right over the goal umpire's hat. And the Demons strike a late blow at the Telstra Dome. Half time. Saturday night football. We've got ourselves a contest once again. The sign's very good from the Demons in the last 10 minutes of that term. Sydney 7-7-49, Melbourne 3-2-20.
Oh, very important goal, that one. Will give them some confidence going in, and they'll be talking up their running game, that they can outrun Sydney in the second half. So whether they can remains to be seen, but that'll be the focus, I would think.
They are one of the best finishing sides in the competition, Melbourne. Can run over the top of sides. They've set themselves a 29-point task. Half-time at the Telstra Dome.
Sunday, the mighty Saints head to Docklands to take on the Kangaroos. Can the boys from Arden Street steal all 4 points? The Kangaroos host St Kilda Sunday on Fox Footy Channel.
So 10 seconds left and the crowd going, Gibbo, Gibbo, 10, 9, I'm flying down the sideline, right, I'm flying down. And they're like, Gibbo, Gibbo.
Tooheys new, what mates do.
When you're buying a new car, you just want the facts. Fact. Toyota offers you more #1 selling models than all other manufacturers. Fact. Over the last 15 years, Toyota has been Australia's favourite brand of car. Fact. The Toyota range has more choice for more Australians than any other maker. Fact. You shouldn't buy a new car without seeing your local Toyota dealer.
Watch a big screen TV without a sound system and you're missing out on half the home theatre experience. Turn it on with an awesome home theatre sound solution from Harvey Norman. We can build a home theatre system solution for you from components tailor-made for every budget or desire. State-of-the-art Dolby Digital EX 6.1 channel surround sound and more. The best brands: Sony, Pioneer, Marantz, Onkyo and Kenwood. Friendly staff who know their sound. Get the full sound experience from your home theatre sound solution specialist, Harvey Norman.
Go! Join us on Wednesday night, a man that played in 6 premierships for Melbourne. The flying red-headed Bluey Adam. Speaking of Bluey, the big man from Geelong. Oh, what a monster he was. Bluey Hampshire.
Grumpy Old Man, this Wednesday on Fox Footy Channel.
Both sides back out on the ground for the resumption of hostilities in this third term. It's the Swans leading by 29 points at half-time, but Melbourne working their way back into the contest midway through that second term as we head down to Tiffany Cherry boundary side.
Well, no problems with Melbourne. As for Sydney, just a couple of slight concerns. Paul Williams, his thumb. O'Loughlin, a little bit of tendonitis in his right knee. And also Stuart Maxfield, no problems with his foot. He just got a bit of a kick. He's A-OK.
Well, the Swans dominated possession, Jared Healy and Peter Schwab, for most of that first half. But from midway through the second term, possessions were dead level at 46 apiece from the 15-minute mark, and clearances turned. Melbourne had 6-1, so they started to get first use of the football themselves.
Melbourne got themselves back into it mentally, I think, Peter. And I reckon it's almost like the fresh start here. I think everybody's looking to see how they match up and whether or not the structures and, of course, Sydney's want to play extra plays in the back half is sustained.
Yeah, I know it's a cliche, but Neil would probably say, let's win the quarter. Don't worry about the scoreboard, it's 0-0 again. We'll win the quarter, and if we do, we're right back in it. I mean, it's the old cliches in footy, you do use them, and you do try and set a mindset, and the mindset will be to win the quarter.
Strangely enough, they've gone back to how they started, and Goods is at centre-half forward. With Bizzle, and no doubt Goods is going to charge straight onto the ball and try and do that same role as blocking up and as a loose man in defence.
And Uze's gone to Williams.
It's a crucial second half in the context of 2 seasons here at the Telstra Dome as Green gets the first effective disposal. Inside 50 for Robertson. Wide in the first half. Good boot to ball, but sprayed it wide. The free kick to the Swans.
Every player on the ground knows that Melbourne are going to be pumped up for this first 5 or even 10 minutes, or maybe they'll be able to sustain it. So it's going to be incredibly important for Sydney if they are to go on and win this match to put a stop to any return to form or any charge that Melbourne makes.
Yeah, they just don't want Melbourne to get a quick goal so they can control the tempo of the game.
Barry, defensive 60. Melbourne a very strong finishing side. The Swans, not a great finishing side in 2004, so this next 30 minutes will be crucial. Free kick. It was an ugly contest.
Barry Hill can't believe it. He's got a free kick. He was mauled that time, legitimately mauled. I think most fair-minded Melbourne supporters would even acknowledge it. That was probably a free kick, particularly with the other player coming in over the top.
Ball spots up Jason Ball short. Eyes darting around, looking for an option. Sides now just a thump at long. Got some body pressure from McDonald, which affected the kick. And Whelan takes an uncontested mark. Now the D's breaking, giving some run off half back. Wheatley. Robertson working up the ground again. Miller offers an option. Heads in that direction. It was an ugly kick, and McDonald takes the mark. 65 out from goal. Bruce leads short. Leaks us back one-on-one with Barry. White now drifts down as well, and Holland there too. Chance for Melbourne to seize the momentum again with the opening goal of the third term. Ben Holland to go back and kick for his second.
Just kick to where the space usually is, that fat side kick, or what we call the third umpire. Just puts it in there. There's a little bit of room and Ben takes it.
So Melbourne to maintain the momentum they built late in the second quarter. And reduce the margin to 23 points. Got it. Points the margin, early going third term. And the momentum continues for the D's.
And Holland's been valuable. You know, that since I brought him on, he gives him a target, he can catch it overhead. And he's a very good kick. He's good kick for goal.
And he's a different player to Neitz. He tends to work back into space, as you saw there, rather than go on the lead forward. Neitz is very much a forward player. Holland can go back, he can go forward. He's a pretty valuable player, and he's proved a handy pickup for the Melbourne side.
Melbourne, the last two in the second quarter and opened the third with the first. 23 points the margin. White down to Reed. Jude Bolton hurriedly. Bizzle getting back. Hall. Bizzle did well. Heads to the outer side of the ground. It's a foot race. To number 27's good tackle, Rivers. Broadbridge gets the ball heading forward, goes inside 50. Meets on the half volley, couldn't take. Comes out in the direction of McDonald. Robertson gives it off to Reed. Could this be two in a minute? High up and under kick. Heads towards the boundary line, stays in play. Shortwell getting back, has support in Nix, who in turn handballs to Kirk. In the direction of Crouch. They've lifted their tempo, the Demons. Robertson got a hand in there. Brown, was he taken high? No free kick, but gives one away, out of bounds on the full.
Pretty stiff there, Brown, not getting the free kick over the top, but all of a sudden the forward pressure of Melbourne has changed. It's gone up enormously, and Sydney's high possession handball game has broken down a couple of times.
Well, that's one way of stopping the run out of the back one. You've got to put forward pressure on them and keep the ball either in your area or stop them getting it out.
Dangerous kick from Bolton. Whelan gets a hold of it. Inside 50. Great effort, Kennelly. Went back with the flight and saved the day. Barry, O'Keefe, and now Kennelly to provide some run. Sweeping handball to O'Keefe. It came from Bolton initially. 60 metres from goal, goes to O'Loughlin. Gets there on the bounce. Twists and turns, tries to shake Wheatley. Handball back to O'Keefe. He can measure it from 40 metres out and puts it through. Swans get one back.
And we're never going to know, well maybe we will know, but we are going to have to wait and see just how important that defensive act from Kennelly was, because that was going to be a mark to Melbourne, which would have given them 4 goals in a row. Kennelly went back, then he got on the rebound, and he created a pretty handy goal. I'm not sure why Adler didn't just, why O'Keefe didn't go forward and just kick that goal. It's such a beautiful kick, but Nick O'Loughlin knew he's a left footer, and he just dummied and allowed him to go bang and go through it.
Steadying goal from the Swans, and Ryan O'Keefe margin back out to 29 points. Ends a run of 3 straight from the D's.
gets the tap out. Green off the line. Heads towards the ruckman is Jeff White again. Couldn't take possession. Kirk, gang tackled by Broadbridge. Heffernan's in there. Stalemate. We'll have a bounce.
Heffernan's gone on to Kirk. They started with Reed. And they're doing a bit of a double act. Those all-important stretches. Robbie, do you think they ever do anything?
No, they look good.
Maxfield coming through on his hands and knees. Tackled by Whelan. Well, yes, there's the correct call. Had plenty of time, prior opportunity. Holding the ball. Matthew Whelan rewarded with the free kick. Robertson on the lead. And a good one. Off to the runner in Broadbridge. Heads towards the edge of the square. In the direction of Neeks. He's got the back position. Takes the mark. And the skipper yet to kick a goal. And an important kick. After Sydney replied through Ryan O'Keefe to get their second for the third quarter.
Both Wheatley and Broadbridge are really starting to run. And
their forwards aren't going with
no, O'Loughlin certainly won't.
Tight angle. No problems. David Leach gets his first. Melbourne get their fifth.
Well, Stephen Doyle's come from the ground. The last two centre bounces, he hasn't really made contact with Jeff White, and it's been, I think, picked up by the coach. They've changed the forward structure, and Buchanan has come onto the ground. And rest assured, Buchanan will be pretty tight on whatever player he is put on. I'd say it'll be a Broadbridge.
Well, Broadbridge's got good leg speed, hasn't he, for a big fella? So
Melbourne skipper gets his first. He's been averaging 7 scoring shots a game in the last month. He's just had 1-1 so far tonight. He's brought his side back within 23 points, and here's Heffernan to go forward again for the Demons. Out towards half forward. Miller will get there first. The screen came from Bruce, but Nix ran him down. Nix goes again. Robertson takes him out. Kennelly mops up. Bolton sets up Williams, and Heffernan took him out of the contest. Kennelly's handball smothered. Heffernan through traffic, missed the body. Kennelly again under pressure from Reid. Here's Bevan, tucks it under the arm, slips away from McDonald, gets boot to ball and puts it out on the full. Tempo is rising.
They started young Bevan on the bench tonight, and he's had a magnificent season, but he's had a couple of skill errors tonight. Maybe the season just wearing him down, a young player in his first year.
Yeah, well, it does this time of year. You know, if you're not a regular AFL player, you've been in the system a long time, it can.
Rivers to Bruce, penetrating kick inside 50, Holland the target. Good effort going back from Michael O'Loughlin. Took it on the chest. Goes short to Bolton. They set up across half-back so well. Williams. And now Shawble pushing forward off his man. Got it on centre wing, can go deep to Crouch. Decides to play on. And there's got to know his limitations. He gets run down by Whelan. Ball gets run down by Brown. Now the turnover. Holland's got a man forward. White went to ground. Good effort from Williams to go back in and force a contest, but numbers will win out for Melbourne. Whelan to White. Again, Williams a 1%er. They're making hard work of it at the moment, the Demons, but finally, Whelan to White. Inside 50, it's a 2-on-1 in the air. At ground level, Bevan slapped away from him, picked up by Barry. Handball to Kirk. Reid closing. Kirk flicked it back. Bevan under pressure. Neat sweats on the youngster. Takes it to the line. It's still there. It's sucked off the deck. It's a goal, is it?
Out of bounds.
Would have been just over the line. Throw in. Effort from Chris Heffernan went through, but the ball just trickled out. Let's take another look.
Well, Bevan a bit stiff. The umpires are going to be consistent not to get the free kick.
Clearly out. Great effort from Chris Heffernan to go off the deck and put it through. Ball out of the ruck. Dangerous business in that position. Brown, Kirk, Nix, and they work it out through Jude Bolton.
Relieves momentarily in the direction of O'Loughlin. Deft touch releases Adam Goods, and they're away here. Only one man up in the forward 50, and that's Jared Crouch. Has Adam Uze. Ball heads towards the boundary line. Good pressure, Rivers. Crouch keeps it in. Uze has some time. Come across the face of goal to Green if he wants. Chooses to go down the line. And Bizzle steadies the ship. They've come out firing, the Demons. Disappointing first half. The stakes are high and they're playing accordingly. Bruce, half back, sets a task for Ree in front of Maxfield. Did well. Plays on quickly. Wheels around. This is better for Melbourne. Good build up. Miller. Centre square. Holland on the lead. He's got front position. Getting back. Kirk. Great courage. Ball spills free. Brown. O'Loughlin. Did well. Got it to Bevan. And the Swans rebound again.
Gee, it's a good contest now. Kirk links up with Kennelly. Kick towards the wing. Nicholson in best position. Happy to take it to the line. And Barry happy to take him into the chairs. This could get a bit messy. Broadbridge and Hall. Hall not keen on the attention. He and Nicholson right on the interchange bench. Umpire's going to throw it in if he can find some space. Maxfield and Reid want to go on with it as well. Ball's back in play. Buchanan in over the top. I'll call for a bounce. Things getting just a little bit heated. And they're not even sure who's supposed to be on the ground and who's on the bench at the moment.
Well, it's actually good to let the thing go, to just keep the play going.
Hall and Bizzle
Broke it up.
We needed Jack Little there for a moment. Wow!
Here it comes to Barry. This will be worth a look. Nathan Brown, Bizzle. Plenty on the line for both these sides, and its tempers are rising. Whelan, O'Keefe, Bolton, crunched by McDonald. Whelan to Bruce. Beautiful kick to Robertson and a great low-down mark. Not much Craig Bolton could do about that. Robertson inside 50. Neats at the front. Holland at the back. He is looming as the danger man, Ben Holland. He's kicked two. And a chance to go back and reduce the margin to 17 points.
Oh, just two great kicks. One by Bruce and one by Robinson. And Robinson's lifted. He's been... Probably hasn't had a lot of it, but he's working really hard. And as you said, Holland's looming as a real danger man.
What a contest this is developing into. Melbourne trailed by 41 points at the 24-minute mark of the second term. Holland bends it back. Not enough. 2 goals, 1 to Big Ben. And the margin now 22 points.
Well, it's not a revelation to say that Sydney's season is on the line, I think, over this next 15 minutes. I think everyone at the stadium and those people watching Fox Footy can just see the difference in style of play that Melbourne are playing. And Sydney is just tending to drop back a little bit and stop attacking, stop going for that longer kick into the forward line. And if they try and save the game from here, or even get half a dozen players with that sort of mentality, Melbourne will run over the top.
Nicks in the direction of Ball. White to fly. Has to spoil. Good second attempt by Jason Ball on his hands and knees. Heads towards the boundary line, as does his skipper, Maxfield. Was it deliberate? No. Umpire Scott McLaren calls for a throw-in.
Squarely on the back foot at the moment, aren't they, the Swans?
Yeah, I mean, the change is Melbourne's pressure on Sydney this quarter. Simple as that.
Broadbridge, third man up. Heffernan had to come at the ball. Matthews stood his ground. Ties it up. Another bounce.
Nathan Brown's done a pretty good job on Paul Williams. He's kept him to just 8 possessions. And he hasn't had a lot of footy, obviously, so he's not going to be a player they're going to be able to rely on to run it through.
Demons fans trying to rally their side. Brown gets the kick towards 50. McDonald has been busy early in the third quarter towards full forward. Miller to fly. Couldn't take the mark. Kick out of the air. Through for a behind. David Meeks has one for the third quarter. It's his second behind. He has 1-2.
I think the Swans have just got to accept that they're getting flogged around the ball at the moment. They've got Jared Crouch doing a pretty good job on Uzo. They've kept him out of the play, but I think they need some stability and some fresh legs on the ball.
Well, Uzo's happy to play in the back line. He seems quite comfortable.
Into the job Nathan Brown's doing on Williams. Williams coming to the bench. Just 1 touch for the third term. Matthews, Bolton and O'Keefe involved. Heffernan confronted by Nicks. Got a handball to Wagler. He's under pressure as well from Whelan. And the Demons wrap it up again.
Well, I reckon Williams can rest just as comfortably in the forward pocket. You've got Crouch there, stick him on the ball, get some toughness and some hard running back in the middle of the ground. You've got Williams, who's going to be a far more capable goal kicker than Jared Crouch.
White got the tap down to Broadbridge. Couldn't get hands free. Buchanan burrowing in under that pack, going nowhere, and another ball up.
And Labuse may play the whole game there, or they might think, well, he's had a bit of a rest, we can throw him on the ball in the last quarter, but he's quite comfortable there, Uze. He's a good user of the ball coming out of the back line, so Melbourne will be happy with that.
2 goals to 1 this term in favour of the D's. They've closed the margin to 21 points. Ball gets boot to ball into the middle of the ground, wide open spaces. Crouch will get there first. Uze wraps him up. Ball spilt for Rivers. Buchanan did well at ground level. Tries to get to his feet. Finds Maxfield by hand. Chance now for the Swans. Barry Hall leads short. He'll go longer towards O'Loughlin, who's got a couple of metres, and that's all he needs. Landed very heavily on his left arm, left shoulder. Just had a couple of metres on Wheatley, who thought the kick was going in a bit deeper.
Well, that's Maxfield's class, isn't it? That's one thing he's done right throughout his career, is kick the ball so well.
He just caught off guard, had a position and crunched down with O'Loughlin on that left shoulder.
I'm sure he thought, like most of the stadium, that the ball was going to go to Barry Hall. And Maxfield fainted. And I reckon Barry Hall fainted too, that he didn't give it to him. Maxfield may have fainted, actually. But there's been a big change here. Doyle has come onto the ground and Ball has had a rest. Now Doyle will probably take the tap and then go forward, and Goods may be released onto the ball.
Yeah. O'Loughlin for number 4. Important kick for the Swans. They lead by 21 points. Ugly off the boot, but it's straight. 4 goals to Michael O'Loughlin, and the Swans get one against the run of play.
O'Loughlin's a dangerous player. I mean, as you said, an ugly kick doesn't matter how ugly they are, as long as they go through. And I think Wheatley's tried hard, and I think Wheatley's tried to run off and create, but he's just a class player, and he gets a look and he hurts you.
It hurts when the mongrels go through as well.
Michael O'Loughlin with his 4th goal. His best against the Demons came in round 22, 2003. 5 goals, 1. White down to Bruce, gets it back. Whistle blowing. Free kick coming back to Cameron Bruce, taken high.
So for all the effort Melbourne's put in at the moment, they've only clawed back 2 points on the scoreboard this quarter.
No Sydney player in their forward 50, and that's a poor kick, getting back and taking an easy mark. Stephen Doyle. Cameron Bruce just let himself down there. Matthews can go over the top to Crouch if he wants. Draws Godfrey. Jared Crouch forward to the wing, has a bounce, chased by Godfrey. Still gets the kick away in the direction of O'Loughlin. He's got the position. Just got rid of Paul Wheatley a little bit too easily, but as we saw with that Maxfield kick, as Matthew Nix makes his way to the bench, Peter, terrific, well-weighted kick to the advantage of Michael O'Loughlin.
Yeah, I suppose, as a coach, you're starting to think, do I take Wheatley off O'Loughlin and try someone else? I'm just trying to rack my brains as to think who they could try on him.
He's a tough player to match up on, so talented. We haven't seen the best of Michael O'Loughlin over the last couple of years because of his unfortunate problems with the knee. But he is just such an exquisite player, such a multi-skilled player when he's up and running, and we're seeing that tonight.
And I think he's, if he kicks this is his 5th and you're into the 3rd quarter, so I don't know, maybe Rivers, maybe a swap there.
Started with Doyle though, and it was an important possession to take. He was flat out the big fella, and he did it well.
This is for goal number 5. No problems whatsoever. Michael O'Loughlin gets his 5th and Sydney's 3rd for the term.
You can't underestimate that last 5 minutes of Sydney's, because they have taken on the challenge of Melbourne, who looked like they were going like winners there at the first 5 minutes of the game. It may get back to that Kennelly little double play, but they have absorbed the punches of Melbourne, and they've actually extended their lead at half-time by some 4 points, I think. But the next 4 or 5 minutes, super important to their result.
He's just gone down onto O'Loughlin now, so
Matthew Nix getting some work on his right foot or ankle. We'll head down to Tiffany Cherry for an update shortly, but 2 steadying goals from Michael O'Loughlin. Huge goals for the Swans. Margin back out to 33 points. Starting to close in on 3-quarter time. Kirk at ground level. O'Keefe picked it up, caught one high.
Jeez.
No free kick, holding the ball. It's gone the other way.
Well, yeah.
Says it all. Ryan O'Keefe on his hands and knees. Not sure where he is at the moment. Did cop one high. Rivers inside 50. Back with courage went Bevan. McDonald at ground level, shut it out of the way. Barry flips it over the top to his partner in crime, Kennelly. Now to Williams. Can go long. Buchanan's got the sit on Broadbridge. Broadbridge goes back and forces a contest. Still there. Broadbridge. Williams picks it off. Puts his foot on the gas. Inside 50, O'Loughlin again. He's taken this game by the throat in the last 6 or 7 minutes.
And he's got Bizzle now, it would appear. But you can't stop that. I mean, you can't have that as a negative against the defender.
No, the kick was just too good and just left.
He's kicked 5 straight. This would be the toughest of his set shots tonight.
Barry Hall looking for it, but gee, I reckon he's better off having a shot.
Went short to Buchanan. Uze will pick it off and link up with Bizzle. Puts it out in front of McDonald. Bevan closing. Bell. He's crunched. Matthews had his head over the football. Ball one from McDonald. Bevan towards half forward. Buchanan looks to be labouring. We'll have a throw in at half forward.
He's kicked 2 goals from outside 50 tonight, Mick O'Loughlin. He passes off to a rover.
Yeah.
What would your instructions be?
I think when he's in the form he's in, he should go back and have a shot for that.
It's just a bit of a replay of Luke Ablett getting 3 around the chops, but getting the penalty against.
Kirk kicks quickly in the direction of the man on the moment. Michael O'Loughlin takes a mark. As unlikely as it looked, the Melbourne player prostrate on the ground. O'Loughlin tight on the boundary line, heads towards Hall, top of the square. Couldn't take the mark. Wheatley, pressure by Hall. Nicholson, they're under pressure, the Demons defence. Brown gains an extra couple of yards, only as far as Ryan O'Keefe. He's taken in a good tackle by Rivers. Broadbridge in some trouble down in that back pocket. He was the one to go down. Did a knee in late 2002.
Doesn't look good, does it?
He's already had one knee reconstruction. It was Luke O'Keefe who actually got that penalty.
Kirk slips, Whelan the tackle. Rivers has another go. Umpires put the whistle away. Could be holding the ball. Play on. Well, they're generous. Should the umpires ball it up? Let's go down to Tiff Cherry before we get a response for him, you Pete.
It definitely wasn't there, and he's being assessed by the Melbourne physios as we speak. But that Matthew Nicks, he's just come back from being down the race, perhaps not expecting him back at this quarter at least.
Kick hurriedly out of the Demons' defence. Matthews leads in the race. The ball wins that out of bounds.
Just going back to those scrimmages, they are really becoming a blight on the game. Should the umpires impose themselves and ball it up a bit more quickly, as has been the habit over 100 years?
There's a tendency to try and let the ball get free, and sometimes it just creates more scrimmages. So yeah, it's something we've gone with, I guess, as a game.
Godfrey, what a difference a couple of goals make. Michael O'Loughlin just riding the ship for Sydney. The margin back out to 33 points. In time now, the enemy for Melbourne as 3/4 time closes in. Bolton, handball over the top to Kennelly, given such important run tonight. Holland takes him down. Who was that? O'Keefe will go inside 50, looking for O'Loughlin again. He's red hot in the 3rd term, Michael O'Loughlin. Brown put his body in and made sure that ball got to the boundary line for a throw in.
That's the only way to stop Kennelly tonight, is to take his pants down. I mean, he's just a super player tonight.
Second one of those for the weekend. Alan Guida having a crack last night. We throw it in. O'Loughlin. O'Keefe. Inside 50, 2-on-1 in favour of the Demons. Hits the ground. Davis and Williams tracking it back. Williams, can he get boot to ball? He's run down by Nicholson. Bell slides in. Has to get it out. Bolton does his best to hold it under.
Look out.
Umpire lurking. Ball up.
Oh, it's a good game to umpire this game, isn't it?
Chance for the Swans. They lead by 33 points. Under 3 minutes remaining until the final change. Hall and White. Bolton kept it alive. And Heffernan will be the beneficiary. It's just set up from the last line. Goes short. And it was tidy. And it found Godfrey. The run just dried up at the moment for Melbourne. Kennelly hanging back off the contest to form the wall. One-on-ones all over the ground at the moment, so Godfrey will have to go to a contest. This will go long towards the boundary line. Holland at the back. Williams in there, got a hand. Holland, one possession. Handball to Heffernan. Now Bizzle. Demons need to claw one back before three-quarter time. Rivers to centre half forward. Ball will pick this off, and does.
He's worked pretty hard this week, this quarter. I've got to say, Jason Ball really has put in.
Some good play tonight.
Kennelly kicking the direction of Barry Hall, but chopping that off was Clint Bizzle. Jolly on for White. Nicholson. Half back. Goes in short to Heffernan. Wheatley wants the handball. Heffernan plays on. Non-preferred side. Heads up the line. Sydney with the numbers. Adam Goods in front position. A nice old push in the back from Brad Miller, but nonetheless took the mark. What happened to run down the remaining minute and a bit? They certainly answered the challenge. Melbourne with the first and third goal of this third quarter. Sydney got three themselves. Michael O'Loughlin's been simply sensational. In the direction of Jason Ball, stood his ground. A helping hand from Darren Jolly, perhaps. Brad White, ball short as Kennelly. Did a great game of 22 possessions.
I'll just control it now because they don't want to get ruled. Having said that,
chance for the Demons to make them pay. Uze. Swans out of position now. They weren't expecting the turnover, and Holland has it. 70 from goal. Needs to get it in quickly. Meeks has got plenty of space one-on-one with Barry. Goes to Robertson in the pocket.
And that's why turnovers kill you. I mean, they were quite prepared to run the clock down and control the ball. And,
score completely out of position.
Well, you are. Once it's a direct turnover, you just get caught out, and that's what happened. And this is a critical goal. They're not out of it, Melbourne.
Huge kick for Russell Robertson. We saw Heffernan slot one after the siren at half-time. Chance for Robertson to do likewise at three-quarter time. Keep the margin manageable. Robertson puts it through. Melbourne still alive at the Telstra Dome. Vital kick for the D's. And at three-quarter time, again they can head to the huddle with a little bit of confidence. Sydney certainly answered the challenge midway through that third term through Michael O'Loughlin. And at three-quarter time, the Demons have reduced Sydney's lead from 29 points to 27 at the final change. 10-7-67. Melbourne 6-4-40.
Today, Fox Footy Channel takes you to the House of Pain as the West Coast Eagles take on Carlton.
Fantastic start to the Blues.
Join our special commentary team led by Matthew Campbell and Gerard Healy for every quarter commercial free.
Oh yes! Super goal!
Digital subscribers press the red button on your remote to experience the AFL like you've never seen it before.
That'll lift the West Coast Eagles!
West Coast Eagles, Carlton from Subiaco today on Fox Footy Channel.
Security! Get out of the damn car! Things your mama teach you any manners, at least you can ask me nicely.
If these guys are looking after our security, we're in trouble.
Are you gonna strip search me?
No. Put on some music. You're gonna strip search yourself.
National Security on Showtime. For passionate debate on the big issues.
I apologise for being emotional, but that kid's career is now in doubt.
And interviews with the biggest names in the game. Get on the couch.
Ball! Left foot snap! Got it!
Joining the boys this week will be St Kilda's young gun, Luke Ball. That's On the Couch, live Monday, 8:30 Eastern on Fox Footy Channel.
Time at Telstra Dome, Wayne Schross, and that happened midway through the quarter.
It did. Part of the anger management course is Andrew Island to the right of screen, just pleading with Barry, get away!
Couldn't hear him. Had the red haze in front of the eyes, and I think it might have filtered into the ears as well. Tempers rising here at the Telstra Dome. 2 seasons on the line as Maxfield and Philip Reid want to go on with it as well. Umpire put it back into play, and the players dispersed. But it was a tight and hard third quarter. The Swans seeing off a challenge from the Demons to lead by 27 points at the final change. 10-7-67, Melbourne 6-4-40. Michael O'Loughlin with 5 goals, including 2 in that third term. 2 big steadiers as Melbourne tried to rally, and the Swans held them at bay.
Oh, look, I was a little bit critical of Lachlan early in the in that quarter when he didn't chase from the forward line, but what he does as a forward, as far as marking the ball inside that dangerous area and converting, I mean, he's just a gem.
Neil Danaher reading the riot act to his troops. He knows there's still a chance. They're a good finishing side. There's one other game of round 20 on the game action on this evening, rather, in Darwin between the Bulldogs and Port Adelaide. Replay scheduled on various networks, so if you don't want to know the score, look away now. We saw Troy Broadbridge go down with some sort of knee injury midway through the third term. Any news, Tiffany Cherry?
Doesn't appear to be as bad as it initially looked like. He has just had an ice pack on it, but he's just taken it off. They were saying that he just hyperextended his knee, but they checked all the ligaments and everything appeared A-OK. He's just in a little bit of pain. But a number of Melbourne players, Rivers, Nicholson, Heffernan, Wheatley, all getting massages on their calves, so doing a fair bit of running out there.
Well, the Swans have lost 4 of their last 5 final terms. Melbourne are the best finishing side in the competition. I'll have to do it again tonight.
And Cameron Bruce has started at full back on Luke Ablett, taking him right out of the play.
27 points the margin at three-quarter time. Whelan, Soccer's off the deck. Here's Goods. Robertson puts in the big ones, affects the kick. Towards half forward it rolls. O'Keefe in front position, wrapped up by Bruce. Ball up. The Swans leading by 40 points at the final change last week. Those sort of gremlins just exist somewhere in the back of the mind, Peter?
Well, Paul Roos certainly wouldn't be talking about it, but Neil Danaher might.
Rest assured the players would know all about it. They've got their own special motivation for the night, of course.
Umpire goes to ground, almost gets a possession. Doyle racked that one up as a hard ball get to umpire Michael Vozzo. Throw in as the Sydney bench.
This time Paul Williams is on Adamuze, and he's also going to the goal square.
It's more a hard ball get out of the way than a hard ball get, I suppose. Doyle got the tap. Bell in best position for the Demons. Pokes it down the line to Robertson, who's really lifted since half-time. Had 7 touches in the third term. Spears one towards half forward. Good effort from Kennelly. He's having a very good game, isn't he? Cross half back.
He's been outstanding, and defensively, he reads the play well, and there he's got good closing speed.
Yeah, he's had a great game. As has Ben Matthews, who's been charged with closing down on Brad Green, and Green's had less than 10 possessions, and he's going to have to overcome a lot more of these sort of tags through his career, because he's one of the more gifted midfielders for Melbourne, and he's going to be just isolated. I'm sure when you spoke about Melbourne, Peter, you would have said, righto, we've got to stop Bruce, we've got to stop Green, and 1 or 2 other players.
Yeah, Green was definitely a target, again, because he uses the ball so well.
Zuze and Williams. Ball inside 50, Bolton. Handball over the top. Nathan Brown will pick it off. Went to ground. Is wrapped up by Buchanan. Reid. Through traffic. Missed White. Picked up by Doyle. Now Davis. Matthews breaks off half back for the Swans. Goes towards Williams. Nicholson in from the side. That's a free kick. Nicholson didn't have his eyes on the football, and Paul Williams will receive it.
Matthews is pushed further afield. The outer side of the ground. He's got plenty of room there. Can play on if he wants to. Plenty of numbers back for the Demons. Matthews heads to the top of the square, getting back Barry Hall. Second bite of the cherry.
Free kick. Well, Barry Hall, he'll need the anger management classes, because even when he takes a grab, they're taking it from him, the umpire.
Quick to rebound out of defensive 50. Brown got it off to Wheatley in the direction of Robertson. Kept his feet. Goods read it best. Ball spills free. Kick comes inboard, finds Buchanan. As Maxfield running by.
Just haven't had the answer to Adam Goods. The Demons, he has killed them again in this early part of the quarter.
Nicholson stood his ground. Kick was meant for Barry Hall.
Had a good game, Jack. I think he might have been corked also in that last contest, Adam Goods.
Yeah, he's limping a little bit, but he just reads it. He thinks he can win it, so he goes, and that's a smart play.
Brown plays on. And that was the direction you think from Neil Danaher at three-quarter time. Robertson Got it off to Bell, showed some dash, gave it to Bruce. They work it up towards McDonald, went without it, coming through Canelli. He's had a great game. Seen out of bounds. That's a good sign for Melbourne fans, and more importantly, Troy Broadbridge. Sydney enjoying a 27-point lead. Early stages of this last quarter, plenty of time if the Demons can rally. At this stage, you'd say Sydney have certainly had their number. Davis out of bounds will have another throw-in.
The first goal's important. If Melbourne can get it, this game is well and truly alive. If Sydney can get the opening goal, it'll start to shut Melbourne out. Doyle in front. White flew over the top. Here's Kennelly again to Matthews. Up against the line. Just turn in
big trouble.
Throw it in. Doyle at the front. Again, White will fly over the top. Hits it to the same spot. Bell there on this occasion for Melbourne. Tumbles it inside 50. Goods attacked it. It's still alive off the hands of Miller. Neats at the back. Williams there as well, and Goods takes it to the line. He's a bit ginger at the moment, Adam Goods, after that last flash a couple of minutes ago, and every time he goes to the football, Paul Bruce must have his heart in his mouth, knowing he's running on about 65% both knees. Dangerous position here for the Demons. Can they manufacture a goal? Holland out of mid-air. McDonald over the top. Maxfield wrapped up by Bell. Again, the umpire hesitates, lets them go, and eventually calls the ball up. Michael Vozzo. 34,991 in tonight. It's a good crowd. Been treated to a pretty entertaining game of football. Free kick going away with the Swans and Stephen Doyle.
He's improving. Just watching him is giving him a genuine second ruck.
He's spent a bit more time on the ground tonight than he has been for most of his career. Predominantly a bench player, just getting short bursts, but tonight he's been out there and part of the mix. Barry Hall marks on centre wing. The power of work tonight, Barry Hall, having an enormous amount of territory, provide an option.
He used to centre half forward, and now they haven't got a marking option, and that's why he's holding it up. He's looking for something short, and eventually finds one.
Matthews worked hard to provide an option.
This is one of the great aspects of the Swans game. They do hold the ball until an option provides itself, presents itself.
Someone will come up square to the kicker.
This time it's Doyle that's working hard to give them an option.
Melbourne trying to shut them all down. Barry Hall leads short now. Matthews will go longer to the 50. White flew over the top. Ball at the front of the contest. Handball smothered by Whelan. Williams flashed across the screen and Uzo took it to the line. Barry Hall prepared to go on with it with Phil Reid. There's two angry men.
Still not out of it though, Melbourne. Sydney are almost trying to play tempo control footy, and it can work if you can just continue to grind it down, as we saw them do in Brisbane in the last quarter. But if they break free, Melbourne, they are still only 27 points in front.
Yeah, I mean, things are going along nicely for Sydney because no one's scoring and the clock's getting run down, so it's sweet at the moment. But if Melbourne, as you said, if Melbourne can just get a goal and maybe put a bit of pressure.
Starting to get on top in the clearances from midway through the second term. They need to get some clean ones now, Melbourne, to break into some open space, because at the moment it's pretty scrappy and close. Heffernan over the top. Under pressure. McDonald in there as well. No one can get clean ball at the moment. Brown put his body on the line. Bell tried to crash through a tackle. And again, we see the Swans with numbers around the football, holding it in, doing a great job in close.
I think White's been, he's been good in the hit-outs, but he hasn't marked the ball around the ground at all tonight.
Player rankings have Michael O'Loughlin sitting on top of the leaderboard at this stage. There's 5 goals to his name, Michael O'Loughlin. Doyle towards the boundary line. Reid pressured by Bolton. It's all out of bounds.
It's a little bit like the sleeper hold that they put on the Brisbane Lions in the last quarter a fortnight ago, Jared, the Swans.
Free kick given away against Stu Bolton.
Very much. It's a similar scenario, although in that match, I reckon everyone thought the game was over three-quarter time, including some of the Brisbane players, and it just filled it out. Right now, I reckon Melbourne would still believe they're a chance, but they've got to break and break them quickly.
Goods to Nix. Heads long inside 50. in the direction of Davis. O'Loughlin, ground level. Buchanan goes back to Doyle, has support in Craibolt, who's shifted forward. Good tackle, Green. Demons with numbers. Williams to Reid. Has Uze. Need to take the mark. Has time. Got it off to Neitz. The skipper from outside 50. Stabs the kick towards Robertson. Takes a good mark under pressure. As you said, Jason was very busy with 7 possessions in that third quarter. And this is a huge kick.
Smart little handball by Williams. He just drew the player and hasn't had much game time, I don't think. But
now a smart kick by David Neitz. And this could just be the goal that changes the chemistry in the minds of the players out there.
He's 21-29 to his name this year. Important kick. Roll. Kicks it. Kicks truly. Gets his first for the evening. Second, I should say. And more importantly, keeps the Demons in the contest.
It's been very good since half-time, Robinson.
It's about consecutive goals now, isn't it, to generate some momentum, to get some real drive and some belief that you can come storming back.
Look, ideal. Get the centre clearance and get another one, and game's really on then.
They need a big contest here from Stephen Doyle, Sydney, because Jeff White has been able to get up and get hand on the footy. Hasn't always resulted in an easy clearance, but just needs a competition, needs to neutralise the ball, worst case scenario.
Melbourne leading clearances 28-20 tonight. And they were behind in the opening term, so since that time, they have got on top around the stoppages.
It's a big one for Jeff White too. He'll know that this match is still within their grasp if he can get up and give them the big bash or the deft tap.
10 minutes gone, final term. Williams slides in, got one high, gets a free kick. Chance for the Demons now out of the centre.
Geez, there's a good attack on the footy there by Luke Williams.
Yeah, well, it's 2 good things he's done in the last minute.
They've lined up straight down the spine so they can break to either side as Green goes short to Miller.
And that would have hurt. Little rabbit punch. And he may end up with 50. He's going to get reported in. Oh no, just a warning.
Wheatley off and Godfrey on. Steve McBurney sorting things out. There is a report.
Yeah.
And no, it's not 50. That was the question for Brad Miller.
I think it was a question for Stewie Maxfield too.
Miller goes to the pocket. It's a 2-on-1. Robertson flew high, couldn't bring it down. Godfrey's just come onto the ground. He's been out there 10 seconds. Kennelly, fierce, trying to wrap him up. O'Keefe's got a piece of him as well, and they crash him into the Telstra own turf.
We are going to see 5 minutes of red-hot footy here. Melbourne know that this is it. Sydney is starting to believe, starting to think about skeletons in the closet. And the attack on the footy there, just for the last 2 or 3 minutes from Melbourne players, has gone up into the top gear.
Play continues. McDonald. Maxfield rolls to the line and takes it out. 12 minutes remaining.
I don't think he's got much to worry about, Stu.
21 points the margin. Throw in.
Melbourne have got to clear the congestion.
A lot of plays around this ball. Holland paddled it to the front. Godfrey in over the top as well. That's why he's been brought back out there, to really give them some extra grunt in and under to try and bust open some of these stoppages.
Yeah, maybe it's a time to get Jolly on, just for that same reason, just to throw some weight around, run through some packs, clear it a little bit.
A bounce on 50 for the D's. Look at the numbers around this ball. They've just got to get it away from the area. Godfrey in there again. And again, the Swans happy to push extra numbers to the contest and just bottle it up as we head down to Tiff.
Paul Wheatley's just come off. Looked like he's got a corky in his calf. They're strapping him up with ice. He won't come back on.
And Matthew Whelan being carried to the bench at the moment. There he is hobbling. We'll get an update on him shortly. Awkward from Kennelly and ineffective. Here's a chance for Reid, but again the Swans just force them to the line, putting the camel clutch on them at the moment. Matthew Whelan to get some attention. He's had a very good night. 20 possessions. Equal leader with Heffernan for the D's.
And every player of Sydney is in the back half of the ground.
Robertson still got boot to ball. To a dangerous position. Broadbridge had his eyes closed but almost marked it. Schauble at ground level. Uze pressures him to the line, and it's still alive for Melbourne, but the Swans again so good at just shutting it down.
Well, it was a critical one there. Broadbridge had his hands on it just a fraction longer, and
it's Matthew Whelan's leg getting some work.
This is dangerous though. Much more open contest this one at a boundary throw in.
He played for the Demons. Holland, Green. Was he pushed in the back? No.
Almost needs a third man up to just slap it clear of the congestion, doesn't it?
I reckon they've got to take the punt on Jolly. Jolly's just got that bigger body at these throw-ins. He's fresh.
Jeff White standing 65 from goal, a kick behind the play in case it does come squirting out.
Lots of numbers, as you said, Jerry, around this play. Bolton got the ball heading towards the boundary line. Crouch, Maxfield taken high, wins himself the free kick. Relatively quiet night, Stewie Maxfield coming up for possession number 9.
He's just going to wait for Stephen Doyle to get into position. He's going to kick it backwards, and
that was smart by Kennelly. He just ran up and got square with the football and got an easy possession, and then he uses it like that.
That's a beautiful kick to the lead of O'Keefe. Open forward line for Sydney. O'Keefe kicks quickly. Williams, spoiled by Nix, gets back, has O'Loughlin, waited off the contest, tied on the boundary line, centres the ball. Nicholson attacked it, couldn't take the ball. Jolly did well for a big man. Gets it to Bizzle. He goes backwards to Green. Dangerous kick, sits it up to the task is Broadbridge. Stood his ground, took a good mark. Melbourne have the numbers. Godfrey heads out in the direction of Reid. Forward of the centre, outer side of the ground now, goes in short to Holland. In front of Shawbull. Uze towards the pocket. Won't find him. Ball bounces on the half volley as we cross down to the boundary line with Tiffany Cherry.
It looks like Whelan has actually hurt the fibula in his left leg, which is the outside bone, and they've iced it up at the moment, and he won't come back on.
That's a real loss for the D's. He's been fantastic tonight, Matthew Whelan. And again, we see another stoppage in the pocket with plenty of players around it. Melbourne need to orchestrate a way clear of this scenario, because at the moment the Swans happy to just do this time and again. This time it's Kennelly who wraps it up.
Jared's caught it. Jolly's on and White's gone off.
Jolly just sitting back in the centre of the square at the moment. They're relying on Ben Holland.
Crouch brings some territory towards the wing. Over the head of Bizzle. O'Loughlin at the back just soccers it off the deck. No one fall to this ball at all. So Nicholson will have to run back 70 metres to collect it. But a chance now for Melbourne to open it up. Bizzle off half back. Every player in front of him. So he goes short to Bell. Melbourne needs some flow. They need some overlap. They can't just go kick mark at the moment because the Swans just get back and cut it off. Godfrey, he'll play on. Inside 50. Holland almost a one-hander. Goods to tidy up. Tumbles a kick towards Williams. Awkward bounce. McDonald gathers. Screws it back inside 50. Well done, Bolton. Worked off his man, Robertson. Maxfield lips to the line. Will be replaced by McVeigh.
Sydney are currently playing British Bulldog. They've got everybody behind the ball bar and Michael O'Loughlin, and when they lose this, everybody gets behind the ball, and then Melbourne have just got to try and find a way through.
The kill game's better than any other side in the competition.
And I reckon Leo Barry is probably the best British Bulldog player in the world. He's a world champion.
Kennelly, long to the wing. Bell in from the side was courageous. He got absolutely crunched, the youngster. Playing game number 2 tonight. Made his debut in round 15 against St Kilda and has done some good things. And that was Gussie on that occasion, and he's got up very sore. Look at him there. That was courage. He's going to come to the bench. Davis can run onto it for Sydney. Chance to just ice it here. Hall, Kirk, high ball inside 50. O'Loughlin, Bizzle arrives. Maybe just took him high. Goes to the line again, which won't worry Paul Roos or the Swans as we head down to Tiv.
Daniel Bell indicating a problem with his left lower leg, it looks like, and also Stuart Maxwell just took himself off his right calf cramping.
There's packs and there's packs, and Daniel Bell had about 6 blokes thunder straight over the top of him.
Great courage shown. Throw in right forward pocket for Sydney. Hall wins the tap. Rivers. Handballs to himself. Got it to Heffernan in heavy traffic. Kick needs to be good, and he spots up Miller. Got to generate a goal in the next couple of minutes, you think, Melbourne. Robertson leads in the foot race. Pressure by Bolton. Has he taken around the legs? No, play on's the call. Was out from here, Jared. Godfrey gets it heading towards 50. Good
Touch play on.
Play on's the call. Williams. Holland wants the free kick.
Well, the whole ball has to go over the line, and the umpire was right there, so I suspect he's got it absolutely spot on. Might have been being generous.
So a bounce, 55 from goal for Melbourne. Jolly works his way to the front. Comes out in the direction of McDonald. Robertson got a push from O'Keefe. Tackled by Bolton. Does it stay in this time? No.
No, that looks out.
That was definitely out, but it was also definitely deliberately out.
When it hits the fence, it's out.
He wouldn't fumble on like that if the ball was free in the goal square.
21-point margin in favour of Sydney. Demons desperately need a goal. Matthews, like his game. To Luke Ablett. High kick. Players have to wait. Doing the spoiling Davis. He couldn't keep it in. We'll have a throw in. Wing position, broadcast side of the ground.
Time running out for the Demons. We've just got to throw caution to the wind here. We're still adopting what we call an orthodox strategy when going forward. Kick mark, kick mark. Get the feeling someone's just going to have to do some individual brilliance. To break a line, do something a little bit different, just to change it up a little bit. All wrapped up by Jolly, because the pattern of the game at the moment is just stoppage, stoppage, stoppage. And when Melbourne do get it, Sydney are able to get back and lock it down again.
Well, there's been one goal kicked in the last 20 minutes of footy, so at this stage, if the game goes for another hour and a quarter,
we
may get see a result.
Heffernan ripped off it by Matthews. Bolton taken down. McVeigh over the top. Kirk got it clear to Matthews. Spears towards the line, and Hall takes it just inside. O'Loughlin one-on-one inside the 50 with Bizzle at the top of the square, as you can see there on your screen. With Broadbridge filling the gap in front of Michael O'Loughlin.
Try and generate some space, and then somebody will lead up.
That's all they want, just to retain possession. Davis couldn't hang on. Bevan crashed in. He gave away a free kick to Green. Melbourne have just got to move it. They've got to break it and go. They need a few Hail Mary plays here to do something different, because time's just going to kill them. Broadbridge is kicked, turnover, and ball will go back and take plenty of time.
He'll just wait for someone might even come square for him, or just straight up at him.
But Bevan short. You can see him centre screen there. He's now covered, so he'll kick it long.
I think after what we saw just before three-quarter time, we're not surprised he took the long option.
Mark Hay is going to the D's and Jared Rivers. Now the switch is on to Jolly. They need something different. Miller works hard to centre wing. He's got away from his man. Needs to turn and keep going. Called to play on. Wants to step around Goods. Pushed off his kick, and Shawble will cut it off. The Swans have just got the sleeper hold on Melbourne.
It was good defensive work there by Goods. He was beaten for the footy, but he didn't get sucked into the balk by young Miller as the Swans whip Bevan off the ground, and Nix comes back on. And he's been an interesting player, Matthew Nix. He's reinvented himself again this season, and he's been given an opportunity with Saddington's injury, and he's delivered for Sydney.
He's been very good tonight. He's another one of those running players. I think big handball receive player, so he and experience. He's got good experience. He's a smart player.
Let's cross down to the below Tiffany Cherry.
Well, with Melbourne's bench really reduced to one, they're trying to keep Paul Wheatley moving, but it doesn't look like he'll come back on. And Daniel Bell's just done a typical left ankle injury.
Green around the corner towards Miller. Good spoil, Goods. Loose ball coming through Godfrey, but doing well on his hands and knees was Kennelly. He's had a great game tonight, tied. Luke Ablett heads up in the direction of Michael O'Loughlin. Got rid of his opponent, took a great mark.
He has been silky tonight.
He's got Buchanan who's pushed forward. He's got loose. This to cap it off. Stabs at the ball, pushes across the place of goal, hits the post, out of bounds on the full.
He's been the difference tonight, Michael O'Loughlin, hasn't he? They've had a winning forward they can go to regularly. Melbourne haven't been able to orchestrate one.
Yeah, I mean, he's kicked 5 out of 10, so you're right, he's the best forward by far on the ground.
Reid goes to Bruce. Brown, and again the boundary line.
And Kennelly's been the best defender by a mile.
The stoppages continue.
Not a mile, is Scott's had a lot of good teammates around him. Shouldn't be harsh on his other teammates down there in the defence, but he's just been outstanding.
28 possessions to Ty Kennelly, leads the game. Next best Woods with 22. And again to the line for another throw in.
Jared and Peter, does this tell us more about Sydney or more about Melbourne tonight?
Well, I think Melbourne are in a little bit of a flat spot now. They just haven't been able to generate. They've tried hard, but they just haven't been able to generate much run. And up forward, they've struggled with Sydney's backline. I
think whenever your best three defenders get well, your best three midfielders get well held, that's Uze, Green and Bruce, you're going to really struggle to win the footy, particularly up against a side like Sydney, who like to strangle the ball.
O'Keefe wrapped up by Reid.
And even White, who's probably rucked quite well, and his hit-outs hasn't won a lot of the football around the ground.
Saw an indication of the strength of Ryan O'Keefe there. Phil Reid did everything he could to get him to ground, but O'Keefe just stood up in that tackle. Ball slaps it forward towards the 50. Here comes Barry Hall. McDonald had to take his turn. Did well. Nicholson ricochets off Godfrey. Ablett taken down. Godfrey goes again. Crouch inside the line, now outside the line. Runs through the third row of the grandstand. Umpire says throw it in. 34th clearance for the quarter compared to any other quarter that tonight. 21's been the most, so it really has just been stop-start football for the last half hour.
Pete, do you see similarities between the way that Sydney play and the way that the West Coast Eagles play when they were winning premierships?
Yeah.
I know Hawthorn always had the view that if you could kick 15 goals, you could beat the West Coast. The trouble was you had to kick the 15, and I think it's a similar scenario with Sydney.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, apart from last week when the Kangaroos got a miraculous quarter, they are a difficult side to score against. Yeah. They do close it down, do make it difficult for you.
It's a big win in the context of Sydney's season and a big loss in the context of Melbourne's. Sydney fans find some voice with just over a minute remaining.
Just really like their work rate in the midfield. Burt, Matthews, Bolton, Crouch. They're just really good, honest players.
Jolly fist it clear. Bolton got boot to ball. Crouch likewise. Again back towards the line. And the tradition continues as Godfrey thunders into the fence.
Peter, you were a former umpires director. Tell me about the three umpire system. We've got one here who's looking. We've got another one who's on the forward 50 at one end, and another one who's on the forward 50 for the other. Now, I just saw McDonald get thrown off the ball by McVeigh. Why wouldn't you have a couple of people coming a bit closer? Because effectively what we've got is a one umpire game.
Well, around the stoppages, you'd like to think that one of the other umpires might see the peripheral, but
they're 50 metres away. 60 metres away.
Yeah, they're a long way away, and they're going to be very hard to see anything off the ball. And the umpire who's watching, he's really watching the ruck contest a bit.
So under 30 seconds remaining, big win for Sydney. They've had a tough week off the track with the death of their head trainer Wally Jackson. Barry Hall with a strong mark. Matthew Nicks sprints towards the goal square. Barry Hall quite active to run the clock down. An emotional week for Sydney. Highly regarded by everybody involved in the football club, Wally Jackson. What a wonderful way to send him off. Great tribute. A terrific win for the club. They've beaten Melbourne in all facets. There's the siren. Barry Hall, later shot at goal after the siren. Gets onto a torpedo, it's going. Doesn't make the distance, but nonetheless Paul Roos will be quite happy with that win. They win tonight 10-7-67. They count for Melbourne 7-4-46.
Big win for the Swans. Damage done in the opening term. They led by 20 points in quarter time. A big win for that man Jason Ball, who was a pallbearer at Wally Jackson's funeral during the week. And they've done that one for Wally tonight. Congratulations to the Swans. They keep their season alive. They move to 11 wins and 9 losses. Big loss for the Demons. They're now 14-6.
Well, it is a big loss for them, and they want to get a top 4 spot, no doubt about that. But they're just you know, you'd have to say after tonight's performance, they just look a bit jaded, a little bit tired. I mean, they'll come again, but tonight they were outplayed by a very good Sydney team.
Ty Kennelly was outstanding, 28 possessions, led the game. Here he is with Tiff.
Ty, that had to be one of the most emotional wins you guys have ever played.
Yeah, I think just from the minute we started, it was like, okay, we got to do this together at 22, and nobody's going to pull anything out of the hat and do it themselves. We need everyone at 22 of us done it. It was great.
It was everything that happened through the week. How did you know that you guys were going to have the eye on the ball and not just fall apart?
Yeah, obviously with what happened, it could go either way. You don't know which way a player's going to respond, but I think we talked about it. You know, we talked about not having Wally around, you know, and that the best way to do it is play for each other and not try and kick 5 or 6 goals individual, and just get to do the team things, and that's what we done, you know, and hopefully watched it and enjoyed it.
I'm sure it was, and not only that though, you guys have kept your finals hopes alive.
Yeah, exactly, more so, you know, obviously our season's going now, and we got Essendon next week, hopefully at home. It's a big game.
And Michael O'Loughlin, I mean, 5 goals, and he was injured, sore shoulder, sore knee. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, Mick's obviously been through a lot. You know, he's pushing on. Obviously, he won't look me saying that, but you know, he's been through a lot with his injuries. But he's done well. He's great camp tonight.
Go and enjoy the win. Well done, mate.
Great win for the Sydney Swans. They moved to 11-9 in season 2004. And for those outside the football club, Wayne, that might be maybe a little surprised at the big fuss made over the passing of a great man like Wally Jackson, just tell us a little bit about Wally, what he means to those blokes out there at the moment.
Well, I think with the emotion that you're seeing there on screen, it says a lot about the man, but he was all things to many people. He was a trainer, he was a confidant, he was the first person to pat you on the back if you played well. He was also the first person that would grab you for a quiet beer if you played a poor game. Look, he's one of these people that just endeared everybody within the organisation, and I think sometimes we tend to get carried away with how big a thing football is, but it's the people and it's the fabric of the people within inside a football club, not only the players but the people that make the club such an important place, and certainly Wally Jackson was that. And Jason Ball, well, that's a culmination of what has been probably one of the most emotionally draining weeks in his football career in life.
Jared, football clubs are an extended family. There's so many people behind the scenes that are faceless, that are nameless. We don't know who they are, but to the guys that are involved on the inner sanctum, they are just like, as I say, family.
Yeah, I think every footballer has his own individual mentors in a club. Some people have that ability to galvanise a group, and obviously Wally was one of those people. And you could just see it, I think, in the way that the Swans approached it. They had a couple of flat spots, but they were just so much harder at the footy than Melbourne. And I think that's an issue that Neil Danaher will have to address through the week and to get his club to rebound. But the Swans had everyone working in the same direction, and they got the results in what was a very hard-fought victory, Peter, and one that I think if the Swans can get to September and reproduce that sort of footy is going to make them a very tough unit to crack.
Oh, they will be. They're just very consistent side in all areas, and they've got a couple of classy players. I mean, O'Loughlin tonight, and you know, Barry Hall, I thought tried hard, didn't have a big influence on the scoreboard. Goods was, you know, he's a talented player. Obviously, he's won a Brownlow medal, but I thought they'd be encouraged by Doyle, you know, because he's come on, genuine sort of second ruckman. The ball, it was good. Their whole back line was outstanding. Just the run they got from their back half was terrific. And Kennelly is, you know, it's a credit to him. Matthews, you mentioned throughout the game, he not only shuts players down, but he gets the ball himself.
Well, the Sydney players have just embraced the two surviving sons, Chris and Peter Jackson. It's been a very, very difficult period. They recently buried their mother, Claire, and they've had to do the same thing for their father, and that's a terrific sign of the appreciation that Wally Jackson and what he meant to this football club. We wish them well. An emotional night for the Sydney Swans. And a great night for the Jackson family and for the Sydney Swans family. And their season is still well and truly alive. A gutsy win. They came out, took it up to Melbourne early, did the damage, and then in the last quarter they didn't score. It was 1 goal to Melbourne, no score at all to Sydney, but they just gutted it out and gritted their teeth, and there was no way they were going to let Melbourne back into that game.
And it sets up next week's game at Telstra Stadium against the Bombers. It's playing for the Marngrook Cup. It's going to be so influential in where the sides finish. It may, in fact, determine whether or not, once again, one side finishes in the 8 or not. And I reckon this may well be the strongest the Swans theme song has been sung for many a year.